What's going to happen in Georgia this week? Stick around. GNCC Live starts now.
From the sun in Santa, Florida, to the mud and rain of Georgia. Welcome to GNCC Live. I'm Rodney Tomlin, everyone, along with Jen Kenyon and, of course, Fred Andrews, as we bring to you today round 2 of America's Premier Off-Road Racing Championship. This, the AMSOIL GNCC Series, presented by Maxxis, an AMA National Championship. This is the Maxxis General GNCC, and let me tell you, folks, we have got a great race day for you. It's a traditional GNCC. We've seen rain showers start to fall yesterday on Friday, and it fell through the night. Just a light one, though. Light, misty rain has created a nice, sloppy surface for us to race on here in Georgia. But I tell you what, it's not slowing down any of the efforts that you can see behind me right now, wrapping up this morning race. And we're getting ready to start the Pro and the A and B classes this afternoon, so we should have a great ride. Let's check in with Jen Kenyon to see what's going on down on Pro Road.
Well, they often say that mud can sometimes be an equalizer, but in GNCC racing, that's not always the case, because we actually experience these conditions quite often. I talked to some of the riders before the start today, and they said the keys for today are going to be a good start, keeping yourself clean right off the bat. Wearing your goggles is going to be very important because you want to have your vision at all times, and staying out front and making smart decisions. So that's going to be the key for these guys up today, but there's so much talent and so many guys that want to win here at round 2. We're just going to have to see how it all shakes up.
And now, time for your starting lineup for this, the second round of America's Premier Off-Road Racing Championship and the world-renowned AMSOIL GNCC Series, presented by Maxxis, an AMA National Championship. This is the Maxxis General GNCC. The stage is set and the field is ready as we get set to roll into this second round of racing, as 15 of the world's top ATV off-road pilots have converged to Washington, Georgia, to this Aonia Pass Motocross Park for the 13th running of the Maxxis General GNCC. Rolling to the line first today, after a season-opening win in the sands of Florida, his first ever, riding aboard the number 2 from Rogers, Ohio, on an Infab and Pro Yamaha, backed by Maxxis and Lone Star, Walker Fowler. Rolling to the line second today, finishing second after grabbing the hole shot, leading the entire race until the final 5 seconds. Looking for redemption today here in the hills of Georgia. Riding aboard the number 521 from West Union, West Virginia, on the McGill Mafia-backed Honda, Adam McGill. Adam McGill making his way onto the starting line right now as we speak, as we turn our attention to our third rider to choose his start position here today. Riding aboard the number 1, seeing his opening round win streak broken at 5. He comes across the line last week in 3rd place out of Sunbury, Pennsylvania, on the Maxxis SSI factory-packed Yamaha, Chris Borich. Rolling to the line today, 4th after their first round of racing. He rides aboard the number 6, hailing from Bidwell, Ohio, on the Maxxis B. Neal Motorsports Yamaha, Bryson Neal. He's got 5th choice on the gate today. He rides aboard the number 7 from Irwin, Pennsylvania, on a Maxxis-backed Eels Cycle Barn Suzuki from Irwin, Pennsylvania, Chris Bithell. Rolling to the line next today, aboard the number 34 machine. He finished 6th. From Casca, Pennsylvania, on board the JMR ATVriders.com backed Honda, Jared McClure. Rolling to the line next today, he finished 7th in the opening round aboard the number 9 from Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania. The young sophomore on a Coastal Waynesburg Axis LSR Moto Experts backed Yamaha, Jay Shadron. Rolling to the line next, he finished 8th in the opening round. He rides aboard the number 14 from Manchester, Maryland. On board the Yamaha, Landon Wolf. Rolling to the line next aboard the number 12. He finished 9th at the opening round out of Hopedale, Ohio on a BNR back Yamaha, Kevin Yoho. Finishing 10th in the opening round, riding aboard the number 16 from Aurora, Ohio on a factory back GBC Yamaha, Johnny Gallagher. Rolling to the line today with the 11th pick on this gate aboard the number 934. He hails from Marietta, Ohio on a Baldwin Motorsports Moose Racing Maxxis backed Honda, Braden Hinthorn. Rolling to the line next today, he rides aboard the number 13 from Akron, Ohio on a BNR Maxxis Hauser Racing Yamaha, Josh Merritt. Aboard the 341, rolling to the line next from Medina, Ohio. On board the Baldwin Motorsports backed Honda, Brian Wolf. And last, and certainly not least, coming to the line with the 14th gate pick aboard the number 426 from Monterey, Tennessee. On board the Yamaha, Errol Bright. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this, the Maxxis General GNCC. As our riders find their way down onto the starting line, we can see the final few have found their spot. Brian Wolf, the 341 machine you see there. You see his passenger, his lovely little daughter there. One thing that Brian Wolf will tell you, it's all a family sport. It's a family affair here for the Wolves. It's not a lone wolf, it's the wolf pack when it comes to Brian Wolf. But sometimes he feels like a lone wolf out there on that trail. And don't be surprised today, folks, if that wolf doesn't get a chance to howl and let it loose in these muddy conditions here in this great state of Georgia. It's an even playing field as far as the racing is concerned. Who's got an advantage? Well, everyone feels like the advantage is theirs. As the rains began to fall yesterday, the smiles began to pick up on a lot of folks out there. Conditions right now, not as bad as they were earlier this morning, but they could get worse as over 200 riders get set to tackle this trail once more in the rain. Starting to slightly fall, a slight mist in the air. It's been a couple of hours since we've seen that, but now we're starting to feel the moisture begin once more. As we get set for our Hot Cams Whole Shot Award, where we unleash the power within, $200 going to be up for grabs in our Whole Shot Award here today. 1 minute before the start of this Maxxis General GNCC, as the machines begin to rev even louder and louder. The hearts begin to pound harder and harder. And everyone begins their focus up toward the first turn, where Ricky Towery readies these riders. The next signal this man will give this fleet of riders will be the blue flag, which will signal 30 seconds. Shut them down, guys. Shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down, my friends, as the blue flag is out, and we're less than 30 seconds away from going GNCC racing. And I got to ask you, Georgia race fans, are you ready to go GNCC racing? Now, come on, Georgia. I know you can do better than that. This is the Maxxis General GNCC. I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at our Maxxis General GNCC. $200 up for grabs around the first turn we roll. It's going to be the 934 Braden Henthorn. Henthorn fresh off of a 5th place finish at the first ever and inaugural running of ATV Supercross at Daytona International Speedway in the Pro-Am class just 4 days ago, and now takes the early lead to $200 extra here today. XC2 Pro-Am getting set to roll next. Cole Richardson, Marty Christopherson, Fred Marley, Randy Hamilton, James Green, Wes Kinsley, Jonathan Fugate, Levi Cohen, Robbie Picarori, also Blake Torres, Tommy Kuntz. So we got Luke Shepard, Alan Blavos, Cody Collier, Bryson Hops, Rylan Johnson, Bradley Burrows, Andrew Connors, Wes Binks, Ben Brink, Stephen Golden, Cameron Bruce, Stephen Michael Cunningham, Michael Lancaster, Brad Amon, Jake Stonebreaker, and Christopher O'Neill in 10 seconds. XC2 Pro-Am. $100 whole shot award up for grabs in this one, friends. As they round this first turn into the second turn, it's going to be the number 5, Cole Richardson, with his 2nd consecutive whole shot of 2015. In talking with Cole Richardson, he said starting has never been one of his strong points. Well, folks, let me tell you, it is here this year. College A, 16 to 21. Coming up next, Christian Mayer, Kenny Schick, Tyler McDaniel, Cole Smith, Nick Royalty, Devin Feehan, Brad Cover, Brad Pearson, Brandon Eichert, also Bodie Lambro. We got Corey Kozlowski, Corey Silverthorne, Noah Landis, as well as Greg Covert, Austin Abney, Anthony Barnes, Zachary Jones, Wesley Wolf, and Bo Cagle ready to roll in 10 seconds. And they're off. Looks like the 720 of Zachary Jones maybe snagging the early lead. Let's see what happens here as they round the second turn. It is Zach Jones out of North Augusta, South Carolina, as we head down to the Junior A 22 plus class next. And here's the way things are stacking up there now. We got Nathan Hornacek, Michael McAvoy, Matthew King, also Justin Paul, Simon Bissell, Tommy Violetti, Robert Heckman, also David Jones, Dustin Dolkowski, Zachary Dean, Joshua Beach, Austin Parks, Kevin Patterson, Cameron Rogers, Brandon Rimby, Stephen Covert, Dwight Pollard, Brent Henke, Chris Gage, and Ray Lippincott ready to roll in. Waiting on Ricky Towery. He says 10 seconds for the Junior A 22 plus class. Another great jump off the line here. Rounding that turn now. Making the push forward. Oh, we got a big one going on, friends, and it's the 896. Brett Henke from Vienna, West Virginia, grabbing the early lead in this one today. Up to the Vet A 28 plus class next. Not a lot of riders, but I'm going to tell you right now, friends, this is a whole lot of competition and a whole lot of talent in this class, with riders like Wesley Stone, Nicholas Carnelli, Perez Dunal, also Jeremy Fontaine, Kenneth Kelly, Matt Hanna, Walter Schumacher, Dustin Hendershot, and Matt Pierce ready to roll on Ricky Towery's cue as he readies these riders in our next row, row number 5, for their start. Trying to clear that second or that first turn region right now. Ready to roll in 10 seconds. The Vet A 28 plus. Round and round they go. Around that first turn. Making that. Whoa, look at that, fist pumping and all. That's the 939 of Matt Pierce from Corning, Ohio on a GT Thunder Moose Racing Maxxis back machine. Senior AB coming up next. These riders 38 years of age and older, including the likes of John Glotta, Aaron Delancey, Brian Schwartz, We got Chuck Horton, Brian Keeney, Tommy Thompson, Lane Coyle, Brian Foltz, Mark Batson, and Rusty Repass ready to roll in 10 seconds. And they're off. Lane Coyle gets a great jump off the line. See what's going to happen, though. It's a drag race to the second turn, and Coyle, the 433, going to make it happen. Coyle out of Brazelton, Georgia, 46-year-old rider in this senior AB class. Paving the way for the rest of the field now as the College B 16-21 gets set to roll. Spencer Modlin, Dylan Edwards, Brandon Barnes, Preston Williams, Dustin Atkinson, Cameron Toothman, Tyler Kistner, Charles Dawson, Michael Schaefer, Scott Pearson, Donald Boylan, Andrew Manbeck, Jonathan Parham, also Bobby Duker, Nick Maynard. 10 seconds. Peyton Wallace, Cameron Horton, Colton White, Dusty Bell, Frankie Gress, Blake Meyer, Jesse Matheny, Braden Schick, Jeremy Hill, Cody Wallace, Chandler Berner, and more as they roll into that first term. I'll try to get you a early leader here heading into that second term. And another 3 wide, it looks like, but the 116 of Spencer Modlin out of Omaha, Nebraska on the KTM takes the early lead in this one. Junior B 22 plus class. 14 riders with Eric Hollyfield, Alan Tuttle, Sean Anderson, Liam Cater, Brian Flicky, Caleb Bailey, Chris Wittenberger, Dustin Dickerson, Ben DeMarco. OPP himself back at it this weekend. William Myers, Cody Pulsevec, also Cody Stolniker, Josh Osborne, and Lane Corey. Junior B 22 plus class, 14 riders ready to tackle turn number 1 on Ricky's Towery up. 10 seconds. All righty, folks, into the second term. It's a big nuts racing machine. It might have been, well, it could have been a number of those Ohio boys. Vet B 30 plus class coming up next. Jeremy Gouchard, Todd Muscala, the Marlboro man, Jason Dillard, also Charles Laviolette. We got Chris Davidson, Casey Edwards, Gary Whitaker, Gregory Westfall, John Salsa. 10 seconds. Mark Smith, Dale Batson, Daniel Webb, Brian Locke, Phil Cole, and Philip Thayer. And the Vet B 30 plus into that first turn, sorting it out now here at the second turn stripe. It's the 671, Dale Batson on that Media All-Stars ITP Lone Star Racing Back machine out of Ida, Michigan here with us. Dale Batson could be a major force as far as this Vet B 30 plus class championship is concerned. And the Media All-Stars are out in full force today as we are rolling into round number 2, this Maxxis General GNCC of the AMSOIL GNCC Championship Series. And, of course, with that, we'll be back with more on RacerTV.com right after this.
This RacerTV.com live broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. By RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready. And Maxxis. Find your flow.
Any engine, any season, at home, at the track, or on the trail. AMSOIL for any engine.
a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser.
Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best?
The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
All right, and welcome back to GNCC Live on RacerTV.com. We are live from the Maxxis General GNCC here in Washington, Georgia. I'm Jen Kenyon, joined alongside Fred Andrews, and we are excited to bring round 2 of the racing action to you guys. We're a little bit late on the running schedule. We did have some rain here in Washington, Georgia. For those of you here at the event, you're saying, yeah, we know. But for those of you at home, you can see on your screen, we've got a little bit of a water stream going through, and it's kind of wet here, Fred.
Yeah, Jen, you know, Barry's done a great job, but you can see he's got some nice virgin terrain going on there through the trees and stuff, because if you got here on Friday, the place was really dry, it was nice, everybody could park good, then about Friday afternoon, Friday evening, it started to rain, Jen, and it rained all night long. It turned the whole parking lot into a swamp and a mud hole, and it's amazing that they've really got the track this nice looking for the riders to tackle today, because, you know, last year we were here, Jen, and it was beautiful for the quads on Saturday. The bike guys got the full-on rain, the full-on mud race. Well, now we got a little bit of a turn here. The quad guys are going to go out there in all the mud. They're going to blow off all the water and all the mud for the bike guys tomorrow. So it should be a little better for the bike guys tomorrow because we've got no more rain in the forecast.
Yeah, you know, and it hasn't really been raining. It stopped a while back during the 10 a.m. race, actually. We got a little bit of rain, but I was talking with some of the track guys, and it sounds like they did scrape a little bit of that mud off here for the afternoon race. But all in all, it's like you said, it's starting to tack up a little bit. It hasn't rained in a few hours, and these guys are used to the mud. I'm sure it's going to be bad, but they're mentally prepared.
That's GNCC racing.
Exactly.
You know, we got a lot more obstacles now. You know, Florida, we had the sand, we had the palmetto roots. Well, you know, we come north, we got some mud, we got some clay, we got some hills, we got some little creeks or cricks to go through. So it's going to make it a really exciting race today. And, you know, the rain has quit, so the sun's kind of come out, so it's going to be a really good day.
That's right, and like Johnny Gallagher said earlier while he was talking to Rodney Tomlin, he said, I feel like the championship really begins here in Georgia. This is where we really kick things off. You know, Florida, it's a little bit of a different terrain, it's a different atmosphere, and it's the opening round. Things really kick off here in Georgia, but let's catch up with Barry Hawk, and we'll see just exactly what we have going on the course. All right, we'll catch up with Barry here in just a few moments. We'll continue to wait. And here is the track description.
Hello everyone, we have a 12-mile track laid out today. We've got a lot of rain yesterday, and it's been real foggy and overcast today, so the conditions are going to be a little bit difficult for the guys. Overall, the track is holding up really good, but there is going to be some soft spots out there, especially whenever the guys take off the start about the 1.5 mile marker. They're going to get along we run below a motocross track, and it's really, really wet in that area, and but there's a lot of lines. I think that's going to be a very important part of the race. Pick a good line through that section. Again, that's the 1.5. From there out past the 2 mile marker to the 3. At the 3 mile marker, they're going to come back out along some trackside pitting and then drop back down in the woods. And at that point, we're going to have a camera shot down there, and there's a pretty good mud hole down in there. All the low-lying areas pretty much have where the waters ran off, and it's going to be pretty interesting in those spots. From there, we're going to head back out towards the 5 mile marker. We have there's a log pile, and the guys got the option to go over the log pile or around it. If they go over it, it's going to be faster, but it's going to be a little more difficult. From there out towards the 6 to the 7 mile marker. At the 7, again, we got a checkpoint out there. It's the really red clay. There's a lot of different types of soil here, but the red clay is really, really slippery. But from there, once they get through that red clay, they're going to head back out and come back in here to the 8, to the 9, and into the finish line. So all in all, it's going to be, the track is holding up about 75% of it is really good. There's 25% of it's going to be, there's going to be some mud holes, and it's going to get interesting. I'm going to predict now you're going to see a guy maybe in the lead, and next time you see him, he might be back in 5th place, getting stuck in some of those mud holes. So should be a good race, and hopefully everybody has fun and can leave with a smile on their face.
All right, thanks, Barry, for that track description. You know, there's a lot of things, like you said, out there, Fred. A lot of different obstacles. We've got the Georgia clay. We've got the mud. We have a little bit of everything here at round 2.
Yeah, you know, that's what makes it really exciting. You know, like you said, we went to Florida, we had the sand and the palmetto roots. Now we're back to what the four-wheeler guys are used to riding week in, week out. Good old dirt, creeks, water, hills, and it's going to be really exciting. I think the start today was important since it's real muddy, so it's going to be interesting to see how these guys come through here.
All right, and what are these guys racing for out there? Well, they're racing for a national championship, of course. That's always in the back of everybody's mind. But here at the Maxxis General GNCC, this is the overall championship trophy right here. This is a gun. As you can see here on the camera, it says Maxxis General GNCC overall winner. That's pretty spiffy, right?
No, that's awesome, Jen. I was sitting here thinking that, man, I wish they had this when I was a racer, because this would be really cool for your wall or your fireplace or something. It's actually looks like a real old flintlock gun like they used to use back in the day when they had the war, when they used to hunt and stuff, and it's unique. You know, and that's what about this race is unique, and I know racers have been doing a great job at getting different kind of trophies for each race.
Yeah, for sure. This is very iconic to this area. This is a very, very rich in Civil War history. We had the chance, we're going to show you guys some clips here in just a little bit. We had the chance to go into the historic Washington, Georgia, and kind of look around and see all the different landmarks. It's incredible. And like I said, we've got a nice little package we'll put together here in just a little bit for you folks. But we are still waiting to see our leaders come through. We saw Braden Henthorn, the number 934. He got the XC1 class hole shot, and as we wait for those leaders to come through, let's get a little GNCC 101 education.
Folks, the hardest thing about racing is learning to go fast, but we're going to get you up to speed quickly with everything you need to know about Grand National Cross Country Racing with GNCC 101. By definition, Grand National Cross Country Racing is a cross-country style motorsports race. We race ATVs, motorcycles, and side-by-sides here, and depending on the event schedule, you'll see 6 to 7 races on a given weekend. Some feature riders as young as age 4, and there's even classes for riders over the age of 60. GNCC racers come from all 50 states, as well as numerous countries from around the world, because this is the prestigious championship they're all chasing. Every GNCC race starts with the dead engine start, which means the engines are turned off until the starter waves the green flag. Each rider lines up on the designated row of his or her class, and with the wave of the green, the race is on. From there, the strategy's simple. Get to the finish line as fast as you can. The racetrack is actually designated not by established trail, but by race arrows. And with some exceptions, the riders must stay within 25 feet of the arrows all the way around the track. The riders don't get to practice or pre-run the course before the race either. They're essentially learning it while they're racing and following the arrows. However, riders can walk the track at designated times prior to their race day. A GNCC racetrack includes just about everything, including trails, footpaths, roads, hills, motocross tracks, any terrain that you can navigate with a dirt bike, an ATV, or a side-by-side. You can expect to see a little bit of everything on a given race weekend. The tracks are typically between 9 and 12 miles long for the afternoon race, and a little bit shorter for the youth, amateur, and side-by-side races. If you're watching the racing and you're trying to pick out the fastest riders, the XC1 or pro-level racers are going to be running red number plate backgrounds with white numbers on them, and the XC2 Pro Lights riders will be running green number plates with white numbers. The points leader in each class will have their number plate colors reversed. Flags are key here too. The green flag, of course, signals the start of the race. A yellow flag signals caution. The 2-lap board means there's 2 laps remaining, and the white flag signals 1 lap to go. The checkered flag signals the race is over, but you already knew that. Riders are scored electronically when they cross the finish line via a transponder mounted on their bike. Then the overall position and times are adjusted according to the row in which each racer started on. Once the race is over, we invite the top 3 finishers in both pro classes to be interviewed on the Maxxis Victory Lane podium, and the top riders in every class are awarded trophies. So now you're close to being a certified expert on GNCC racing, but if you want to learn more, check out the series website at gnccracing.com, or do it the new way and just follow the series on the following social media sites. They'll tell you everything you need to know. After that, we'll see you at the races, and we'll talk to you about it in person.
On the spot, so we got a lot of great things going on. And Fred, as we can see, the race day has gotten off. It's a little inclement, but the guys are traversing the track all right. Unfortunately, the rain stopped a couple of hours ago. Hopefully, though, it means the track's going to turn around. But I know as well as you know, the track normally gets worse before it gets better.
Yeah, Rodney, it's going to actually get dry and tacky. The mud's really going to get thick and start sticking to the bikes, and that's going to be a little bit of a problem with the radiators and stuff. But some of the track will get better, but some of it will get worse, but these guys can handle it.
All right, now we are about 20 minutes and a half, approaching the 21-minute mark into our race here today. Still on lap number 1, and here come our leaders here at, well, that is Brian Wolf out front now. The Wolf Pack, you say he's a lone wolf, if you will, but he's got his 2 kids and his wife out there, man, and they are the biggest support and the greatest support he has ever seen and ever known, and he's already got a nice little lead, it looks like. Looks like guys are not far behind right now, and this first lap seems to be almost a freight train, something we've seen in years past a lot of times on this first lap.
Yeah, Ronnie, you see a lot of the leaves laying down out there, and it's kind of hiding all the logs and all the little holes and stuff. And these guys are just kind of following each other, letting the first lap sort things out, because you don't want to make a big mistake on the first lap and ruin your whole day. And I think these really looks nice with his leaves, and it's not as muddy as it looks like out here in the parking lot. You know, the parking lot's a total mess, and people are getting stuck, but the woods are really in good condition right now.
Well, the amazing thing is, you know, normally in the winter months, you know, fall and winter, the ground kind of falls away, so to speak, and you get a situation, circumstance, whenever it gets wet, it just seems like there's no bottom in it. But what we can say about this is there is a bottom in it, and what we're seeing, the mud is really pumping up through the grass, and maybe a couple of inches, an inch or two of muck on top, but once you get through that, it's pretty solid back there.
Yeah, I think with the hills, actually, they help a lot, Rodney. It's actually letting it roll down into the valleys. And, you know, out here in the grass and that, it soaks it up. But them trees are really looking good going through the woods right there. And I think the woods are going to be the good part of the track. It'd be nice when we see some of the creek crossings. I'm sure they're going to get eaten up. But, man, the track looks in way better condition than I would have ever thought it'd been with the rain we had.
About 22 and a half minutes approaching that now into this first lap of racing. Fred, looking back from your racing experience, what do you think's going on right now on this first lap?
Well, I think Brian Rolfe right now, he's out in the lead, and he's thinking, man, I'm here, and I'm going to make the best of it, and he's going to try to get a little bit of a lead, and, you know, he's got good conditions, and the guys behind him, they're just saying, well, you know, it's a long race, we're going to play follow the leader, and when they get to the mud holes and, you know, wait and see where somebody goes through before they leap in, because nobody wants to get stuck on the first lap because that could ruin your whole day. But Brian Rolfe's kind of in an unfamiliar spot for him because he really hasn't been in the lead for a few races, Rodney.
No, it's been quite some time since he's been up there, and I know in talking with him in Florida pre-race round number 1 there just a little over a week ago, he said, you know, he's coming back. He's got a lot of fire and a lot of determination, but what he doesn't have is conditioning in his hip pocket. He didn't get a condition any over the winter. He spent a lot of time working. He works on the railroad, and he said, you know what, I'm doing this for the fun of it, and I'm going to go out and have fun, and I think that's exactly what he's doing. And, you know, that was the time whenever Brian Wolfe was doing it for fun before was when Brian Wolfe had the most success. And if he's back in that mode of thinking, then we may see success stories be told once again for the number 341.
Yeah, you know, Rodney, sometimes when you make something fun your job, it takes all the fun out of it and you really don't want to do it anymore. So it's good that he's kind of flipped it back around and now it's fun and it's not like work. And, too, also out there when he's in the lead right now, and if it's fun, his conditioning's really not going to take much of effect on him because he's going to have that adrenaline going. He's going to be telling himself a little bit of confidence boosters going, man, this is fun again. I really enjoy this, and I'm leading, and, you know, it's just going to carry him on.
Yeah, and honestly, in this first lap, I got to say that probably a lot of energy may be being saved as they just kind of look through things and just kind of feel it out of here on this first lap. There's really not a lot of intensity out there for any of these guys, so that could mean that when lap 2 rolls around, 3 and 4, this is going to get pretty interesting as far as the racing is concerned.
Yeah, Rodney, I think once the track gets burned in, definitely the lap times are going to pick up and they're going to go faster and faster. Right now, like I said earlier, with the leaves on the ground, you just kind of want to be easy going around the first lap because you can make a big mistake and cost you the race. So right now they're just letting the leaves get pushed off, and they're letting the track just come to form, and then in the second lap they're going to really start going after it.
I'm amazed at how quickly the track is turning around. But like you said, there's a lot of hills around here, so the hillsides and hopefully a lot of the tops of the hills are a lot drier than some of those lower lying areas. But I got to tell you, even riding the track on Thursday before the rain came in on Friday, I took a little trip around it, and I was pretty impressed with what the track crew was able to do. And Barry informed me, you know, this track, it doesn't have a lot of the things that I wanted to put in it because we were expecting so much rain this weekend, so we tried to make it passable for rain. So we know there's a lot more this facility has to offer, and with these kind of conditions, regardless of whether Barry put some of the tougher stuff in, it's still going to be a rather tough track to traverse, I believe.
No, Rodney, I think it's still going to be tough no matter what. You know, that's the nice thing about having a little bit extra land like this, where we can make a great track for great racing for everybody. We don't want to put big spots in there where everybody's going to get stuck and it's not fun. So with the extra land, and here comes our leaders into the pits now, Rodney.
Yeah, our leaders are in the pro pits right now. You can see we're top of the hill. That's still not bad looking, all things considered. Still a lot of muck and mud there where some of the vehicles were pulling in last night to set the pro pits up and so forth. But all in all, man, I mean, again, that's looking pretty good. A lot of that mud's been pushed off to the side. And look at this already. We got one in for some goggles. I believe
Walker
that was
Fowler.
Yeah.
You know, Rodney, that's a good move. You know, the first lap, you're in traffic. You got to keep your eyes clean. You get mud in your eye, your race is over. So that was a really smart move, in my opinion, on Walker to come in, get some fresh goggles. You know, he's got roll-offs or tear-offs on there so he can get closer to the guys and start picking them off and try to get to the front of the pack.
Well, I don't know if that's Josh Merritt down there quite possibly or Landon Wolf, but we got one of our guys in getting, looks like trying to get new goggles and get those handle grips.
You know, Rodney, you look at the bikes. They're really not a whole bunch of mud sticking to them yet. So right now we're kind of riding on top of the surface. It's going to be interesting to see later on if that mud starts to get thick and heavy. I mean, that was my guess for the day, that it was going to be a real thick and heavy race.
Just past the 27-minute mark, lap number 1 still. We're about the 9.5 or 8.5 right now, working on the 9 for these riders as we have I believe, an 11.5-mile race course here for these riders today. So they have got still a little bit way to go before they get to the finish line, but it sounds like they're getting close. There is the 9.2. They go through the pits. They hit the 9 after the pits, and they go close to the finish line. Then they'll duck back down in the woods for another couple of miles before they actually come through for a lap complete. And right now, my friends, is a great time for you to tweet your podium predictions, and it could net you about $250 in great AMSOIL product. How do you do that? Well, you got an idea who you think's going to win or who you want to win. Well, tweet those predictions and hashtag them GNCC Live, and we'll enter you in the drawing for a chance to win that $250 in AMSOIL products. You don't have to be right, and all you got to do is play, and winner will be chosen randomly toward the end of today's race. And again, don't forget to follow Racer TV on Twitter and also Instagram. Just simply follow @RacerTV. So right now, Fred Andrews, we watching the pro pits, but we're expecting the leaders due in about probably a minute and a half to 2 minutes, quite possibly, depending on just exactly how rough that section between the 9-2 and the finish line happens to be. I believe Jen Kenyon standing by. Got some update. What's going on, Jen?
You know, guys, I was looking at the starting line. I was checking out everybody's bikes because I know sometimes when it's muddy, they like to run the practice bike to try to save it for future rounds. And I noticed Adam McGill was on a bike that was very plain, not so flashy. It was a red plastic bike. And so I asked, and they said he is running his practice bike here today. So I thought that was a little bit of an interesting move on Adam McGill's part.
Well, it's something that we've seen him do in years past. And I actually talked with him earlier this morning as well, and he told me the same thing. That was the game plan coming into this when he was not going to bring the race bike out for the race. He had it out for show, obviously, but the bike that he was racing was his practice bike. He said, you know, he's got a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort into that. He's got a lot of money into his practice bike also, but he says that he knows that it's capable of taking these kinds of conditions. Not that his race bike wouldn't, but he's thinking a little further down the line right now, I think.
You know, Rodney, that's something I wouldn't have wanted to do. When I come here, I've got my bike perfect. I want to race my race bike. I come on out there to win every race, you know. If I win the race, I got to rebuild it. Well, I got to rebuild it. You know, you get your practice bike out there, you never really know if it's really race ready like your race bike. Your race bike's your race bike. You race it and you fix it.
Right. Well, Adam, I guess he's prepped that bike just like it was his race bike, so he's confident in it. Right now, it seems to be working, but we'll see if that really holds out to be true. He's got one of the front-running positions out there. We'll see where he's at whenever he checks in here at the finish line in just a moment. That's the 9-2 we're looking at right there where those riders are going through. They go back through the woods and drop down before they come back out here at the about the 11-mile marker. I think it's just past the 11-mile marker. And look at this first lap time. This is kind of untraditional. We normally see a 23 to 27-minute lap time. We're already approaching the 31-minute mark right now.
Yeah, right now I was looking at the same time as you were. So this could be interesting with the pit stops now. You know, if the lap times are going to be, you know, they're definitely going to be maybe 32, 31 minutes long, so you're going to have to be a different kind of pit strategy for these guys here today.
And speaking of strategy, while these guys make their way around to the finish line, Fred, what are some of the strategies coming into a mud race like today?
Well, you know, like when Jen was talking about when she was at the line looking at the bikes, I thought she was going to tell us, you know, some guys put foam over the radiators or some guys try to tape different parts up because once that mud gets in there on the radiators and stuff and clogs you up, the bike tends to overheat. So you want to make sure you try to keep the radiators clean and cool. And you might want to put some tape on top of your helmet and put a little piece of paper or some foam up there or something so you can rip the mud off. Because once the mud gets on your visor and gets heavy, you know, you got to start lifting your head up all the time. And there's a little bit of things like that. And maybe even put a towel on the side of your waist so if you do get some mud on your hands, you can grab that towel and try to like clean your gloves off. Because the two most important things are your eyes. You got to keep your eyes free of mud, because once they get mud in them, like I said earlier, you're done, you can't see. And your hands, you want to be able to hold on out there.
That's the most critical parts of the race, being able to hold on and be able to see, especially today, man. That could win you the race, because we have seen folks in races past where they've gotten mud in their eyes and scratched their corneas. Look at this battle shaping up now. It's nose to tail, 1 through 6 now, it looks like.
One through the whole pack. You know, it's like I said, they got some of this virgin stuff right now, and this is where it's a disadvantage to be the leader, because the guys behind you, they can key off of you and see where they're going, and they can catch up a lot easier. So Brian Wolf had it made when he was on the main track, but now when it's virgin stuff, all these other guys have just closed the door right up on him. And now I think he might be a little nervous, you know. He's got some heat on him.
Yeah, he does have some heat on him, but what he does have right now is that second place position, and he doesn't have to carve the way through this virgin terrain right here. So he does, in a way, have a little bit of a break not being up front, at least through this part of the track on the first lap. Leader should be coming into the finish line region here pretty soon. We're approaching 33 minutes now, and that's one of the longer first laps that I've seen in a long time, whether regardless it be weather conditions or not. That is got to be a long and challenging race course for these guys.
Yeah, Rodney, and I would expect that lap times actually to get longer as the track starts to deteriorate and get rougher and gnarlier. You know, we may be up to 34-minute lap times. Well, it's 33 and we're still not in yet.
Yes, I know that. I know that a lot of these guys are on a mission today, especially after that first round, like Jim was saying and like Johnny said earlier. You know, that first race is oftentimes not really a lot of weight put on it. Even though there are championship points, a lot of these guys look at this particular round right here, the one where the championship starts for them. It really technically did start, but they salvaged what they could there. Yep. Today's the day to make things happen.
Yeah, Rodney, just like you said, Florida's kind of a get through it race. Do the best you can. Don't get hurt. Don't tear your equipment up. And then come here to Georgia and get on some terrain that you're used to riding, and that's when the race really starts.
Right now, 34 minutes into this race, and look at this, my friend. Still no sign of our leaders. Here they are coming through the finish line right now. The final few chicanes as they wind their way into the finish line itself. That right there is a fun little shoot. I rode that Thursday, like I said, a fun little shoot to come through all those chicanes. Will be some great passing opportunities opening up, I think, throughout the course of the day. And at the end of lap number 1, your leaders checking in. Brian Wolf has regained the lead, it appears, according to timing and scoring. Chris Bithell, the number 7, is now in the number 2 spot. So Brian Wolf, a 2.1 second lead over Chris Bithell. Back behind him, Kevin Yoho. B-Neal Motorsports, that Maxxis B-Neal Motorsports rider, Bryson Neal out there in the number 4 spot. Walker Fowler is 5th. Jay Shadron in 6th. Johnny Gallagher in 7th. In the number 8 spot, the number 4 of Jared McClure. Chris Borich is all the way back in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Landon Wolf. And with that, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll be back with more GNCC Live from the Maxxis General right after this.
General RV is going to help you go camping with locations across the nation and thousands of RVs to choose from. General RV is the nation's largest family-owned RV dealer. At General RV, you'll save thousands on everything from trailers that sleep the whole family right up to motorhomes that are amazing and so economical to travel in. General RV is the only dealer who can show you this much and save you this much. With a great deal from General RV, you'll discover how much fun camping can be.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Rodney Tomlin along with Fred Andrews. Jenny on the spot, Jen Kenyon out and about. And earlier this morning, we had ourselves a great little youth race, believe it or not. Another one as we do each and every weekend here at the GNCC. And, of course, little Ronnie Rush made it 2 in a row, and Jen Kenyon caught up with him. Well, I guess we don't have that package. So.
You know, Rodney,
that's right, Rodney. We've got Ronnie Rush down here, 2 in a row for you, ATV Youth Overalls. How does it feel? You got a win in the dry conditions, and now you have a win in the muddy conditions.
Yeah, I kind of just took the lead in the second bend off the start and tried to get away fast because I knew the lappers were going to be stuck in the mud holes, so I just tried to leave them fast.
So what's the key of getting around out there when it's this muddy?
Just check up on your brakes early and just go slow. Just take your time.
All right, well, that's some good advice. Congratulations. That's a good win for you, bud.
Thank you.
Most definitely a good win. 2 weeks in a row he's able to do it in Florida, in the sands and sun, and here today in the muds of Georgia. Hey, we got some crazy and interesting things going on. Remember, we were talking about those extended lap times from what and we talked about how slow it appeared that those guys were traversing this terrain here just a little bit ago. Well, Marty Christopherson out of Richford, New York, checks in on adjusted time with the overall lead, with Blake Tornes running in the number 2 spot, and A.J. Coons out of Fayetteville, Pennsylvania, only 5 seconds off the pace in 3rd. All 3 of those top 3 are XC2 Pro-Am riders. They turned about a 17-second faster lap time than your leader in the XC1 Pro class, which was Adam McGill, followed up by Brian Wolf. That was McGill out front of Wolf there, by the way. So McGill is now 4th overall, but leading that XC1 Pro class right now.
You know, Rodney, that goes to show you that the XC1 guys burnt the track in for the XC2 guys, and they actually could go faster because they already had the, all the stuff figured out. And, that's what happens in the motorcycle race a lot. The XC1 guys burn in the track, the XC2 guys catch up. But it'll be interesting to see if these guys can keep this on-time adjustment lead the second lap. Now the track's burned in, the XC1 guys are going to say, okay, it's time to put the hammer down, let's go.
Yeah, and rightfully so. You got to wonder that because, Chris Borich all the way back in 10th place at the end of lap number 1. Jared McClure was running 9th. Johnny Gallagher was back in 8th. Jay Shadron was 7th. Walker Fowler was 6th. Bryson Neal in 5th. Kevin Yoho 4th. Chris Bithell in 3rd. Brian Wolf in 2nd. And Adam McGill, your leader. Now, here's the thing to point out. McGill now that he's up front, McGill's not the one to sit and wait for it to come to him to try to figure this racetrack out. He's going to go. We were talking about that stretching it out like you were expecting Brian Wolf to do that he didn't do. Well, this is where we might expect Adam McGill to try to stretch out.
You know, Rodney, after Adam McGill ran that awesome race last weekend, he had to all the way to the finish, and he caught that lapper, and, you know, Walker did catch up to him, and Walker was going fast too, but Adam was kind of thinking he had it in the bag, caught that lap rider, made the wrong choice, went zigged when he should have zagged, and Adam lost the lead to Walker, and man, you could just see how Adam was crushed, that he worked so hard all winter, and it was in his hand, and it kind of was taken out of his control as he lost that race. And today he's back in that situation. He's in the lead, and I look for him, like you said, Roddy, to just put the hammer down, and he's going to take control of this race and make it happen.
Oh, he was so frustrated. I talked to him earlier today, and he said, you know, there's no more friends on the racetrack whatsoever. He says, I'm going out for one purpose and one purpose only. He says, I'm going out to win, hands down. There is not going to be letting these guys catch back up and play a little cat and mouse game. He says he's going out, and his mission is to destroy these guys as much as he can, their confidence, and if he can on the racetrack, that's his purpose as well. He said, you know, realizing that he's got a lot of competition. He said it respectfully, but he has a mission. He has a mindset that he wants to go out and change the face of this GNCC ATV racing, because we've seen so much dominance over the champions for so long. Once they get a championship, they dominate for years and nearly decades sometimes, it seems like, between Barry Hawk and of course Bill Balance, and now Chris Borich, who is well over half a decade with 6 championships to his credit now. So, you know, Adam's thinking it's time for changing of the guard. We don't want to see a 7th championship. We don't want to see Walker Fowler get his first XC1 Pro Class championship. I know that Walker is thinking the same thing that Adam is right now. Chris Bithell is thinking the same thing, and right now Walker Fowler is trying to work his way up. Out of all these guys aside from Bithell, Walker's in pretty good shape all the way back in the number 6 place. And you know, coming into this race day today, we had a chance to catch up with Walker and find out just exactly what his mindset was coming into today.
You know, coming into last race, definitely was feeling a little under the weather, but we just kind of tried to keep it under wraps and, you know, not let the competition know what was going on. It was, you know, it was tough, but we, you know, we fought through the race, and, you know, we ended up getting a win out of the deal. Had the flu all week and was just miserable, dehydrated big time, and, yeah, at the end of the race, it took its toll on me. But, you know, we had a week to get ready for Georgia here. I'm not 100% healthy. I wish I was. It just kind of has turned into other sicknesses and other crap that I don't want to have to deal with, but we're here, we're going racing again, and yeah, you know, we're just hopefully just gonna fight through another race and see what we can come up with again.
Well, there you go, Walker Fowler trying to make it happen. You know, that's not the first time we've seen Walker push himself beyond his physical limitations for whatever that day may be. He did it down in Florida, dehydrated, like you said. We've seen him do it, I think it was 3 years ago, right here, maybe 4 years ago, right here at this very track where he almost beat Chris Borich for the first time. His bike blew up just probably 70 yards, 100 yards before the finish line. Pushed it all the way to the checker flag, had an asthma attack, collapsed. I mean, it was crazy things there, so hopefully we don't see anything like that happen to Walker again. Last week he collapsed, had to get the IV, couldn't make it to the finish line podium in the Maxxis winner's circle, but he's back out here today in full force, and he is hoping to be able to turn things around. And I got to tell you, this is the first time in a long, long time, Fred Andrews, we've seen a running order like this where guys like Walker Fowler all the way back to 6th and Chris Borich all the way back to the 10th place position. The one thing that I can say about this, though, those guys were nose to tail, so it's not going to take much for those guys to get that window of opportunity open and start making passes.
Yeah, Ronnie, you're correct on that. The only problem with that is right now they're eating roost the whole time. You know, it's not like we're at a nice dry condition where they're getting a little bit of dust. Right now their bikes are getting filled up with mud. Their radiators are getting full. They're eating a lot of mud. Mud's getting on them. They're getting heavier. And, you know, Adam McGill's out front right now. And Walker Fowler being 6th and, you know, Chris Borich being 10th. And, you know, that's pretty far back for those guys right now with all the other guys in between them that are no slouch. You know, any one of them guys in between them can run and win it, you know, any given day. So it's not going to be easy out there today for any of those guys.
No, it's not. One rider that we're probably going to want to keep an eye on today, too, Fred, is Chris Bithell. Chris Bithell running in the number 3 spot right now. Had a great start to the early part of the race last race and was looking good. Talking with him, he said he had some issues and some problems that came up later on in the race that kind of took him out of the running for the podium positions and possibly the win there that day. But Chris Bithell is another rider that's come with a new fire and a new vengeance to this 2015 championship.
Yeah, Ron, it's great when you start the new year. Everybody's done their homework. They figured out what they did wrong the year before, so everybody shows up better prepared than they were the year before, and that's why this racing has become so exciting these first few races till they get things sorted out again. And, you know, Walker Fowler came into that race sick. Even though he gave it everything he had to get, you know, the IV after the race, but he's fighting a cold, so you'd almost think that would even weaken his immune system more. And like you said, he's fighting more issues with his health, so that cold may even probably could have got worse, even though he gave it his all one weekend, and then they give him some fluids. He's back at it this week and going to give it his all again. If he collapses at the line again, that's just what he's going to do.
Yeah, and I got to ask you, what's the likelihood of something that close together? I mean, I know these athletes train very hard, and their recovery time is something that is better than the normal individual human being out there. But even with as extreme as he put his body through, with it being dehydration due to the illness and things like that, and I'm sure there's still some illness out there or lingering around in his body, what does that do? Is his recovery time really slowed down for that? Will he still be feeling the effects from last Saturday's race, possibly?
You know, Rodney, it happened to me one year when we raced Ocala. I was in the XC1 class in the motorcycles, and I gave it my all. I came up short, and I got second to Guy Cooper. But after that race, I didn't make it to the podium either. I hit the ground. I was in my truck. My whole body was seizing up. I got an IV. Boom, I was like brand new man. And I raced again that Sunday, or that following Sunday. So I only had like 4 days to recoup, and I was 100%. It's amazing what that IV can do to you, because your body was already in great shape. You don't lose shape because you got dehydrated. So I think Walker's fine that way. It's just the cold. You know, your cold may have gotten worse, and there's nothing you can really do for a cold.
Yeah, for sure. So that's good news for Walker Fowler, and I know he is a very well-conditioned athlete. There's no doubt about that. Let's take a look at some of these classes as they make their way in. We can see on RacerTV.com the overall is scrolling across the bottom there, and of course we're looking at Marty Christopherson, Blake Tornes, Tommy Kuntz. That's AJ Kuntz, really. Your top 3 overall. They're your XC2 Pro-Am top 3 as well. Adam McGill was 4th overall, leading physically on the racetrack, and in the XC1 Pro class, Brian Wolf was 5th. Steve Golden was 6th. Chris Bithell was 7th overall. James Green, a XC2 Pro-Am rider, 5th place. Actually, James Green is, 5th place. Steve Golden is 4th in that class. Green is 8th overall and 5th in the class. Kevin Yoho, the 9th place position, bore the number 12 overall. And Bryson Neal rounds out the top 10 overall. But again, it's McGill, Wolf, Bithell, Yoho, and Neal, your top 5 in the XC1 Pro. And the XC2 Pro-Am, Christopherson, Tornes, Kuntz, Golden, and Green. Then Randy Hamilton, the number 20, back in 6th place. Hamilton only 5 seconds off the pace. He was a rider that we saw in podium position there last week, but wasn't able to make it happen. Also right behind him could be a saving grace for Randy Hamilton, because you got the number 5 of Cole Richardson, who finished the top 5 last week in Florida from the XC2 Pro-Am class. He did that 5th place overall, winning the class by, man, he just totally destroyed the class. Got the whole shot today in this one, but has dropped way back. He's 7th place. He's out of Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, part of that Infab Am Pro Yamaha effort there with Walker Fowler. 745, Anthony Herring out of Waverly, West Virginia, runs 8th. 9th is Michael Lancaster, the 807 from Gasaway, West Virginia. 23, Wes Kinsley rounds out the top 10. College A class, Kenny Schick leading Anthony Barnes, Greg Covert, Devin Feehan, and Austin Abney, your top 5. Christian Mayer in 6th. Corey Silverthorne was 7th. 8th, Wesley Wolf. 9th, Corey Kozlowski. And rounding out the top 10, Brett Covert, Junior A 22+, Stephen Covert, Michael McAvoy, Brett Henke. 4th place, Joshua Beach. 5th place, Nathan Hornacek. Then we go 6 through 10. Justin Paul, Matt King, David Jones, Tommy Valletti, and Austin Parks rounding out that top 10. The Vet A class being led out by Matt Pierce. Matt Hanna not far behind, about 20 seconds back in 2nd, with Dustin Hendershot in 3rd. Walt Shoemaker back in 4th. Wes Stone 5th. And it looks like Dunal and Fontaine running 6th and 7th in that division. Top 5 in the senior AB 38 plus is John Galata, Aaron Delancey, Brian Folds, Tommy Thompson, and Mark Batson from the Media All-Stars team out there. We got a couple of those riders this week. College B classes. Look at some of these B classes after the first lap. Charles Dawson leading Braden Schick, Dustin Atkinson in 3rd. Blake Meyer is 4th. We got Jeremy Hill in 5th. Spencer Modlin is 6th. Frankie Gress 7th. Peyton Wallace in 8th. Chandler Berner in 9th. And Brandon Barnes rounding out the top 10. Only 2 junior B22 plus class riders checking in so far. Oh, Eric Colleyfield and my good buddy PP DeMarco, Ben DeMarco out there in the 2nd place position aboard the number 450 machine. Brian Felicki checked in out of Poland, Ohio in the number 3 spot just then out of that junior B class. We'll go to the vet B class. Dale Batson, another Media All-Star rider out of Ida, Michigan, leading that one. Chris Davidson out of Tuscumbia in Alabama running in 2nd. The 61 of Jeremy Gouchard out of Gushard, out of Mansfield, Ohio, running 3rd. Top Muscala, we like to call him the Marlboro Man, out of Uniontown, PA, is running 4th aboard the 64. The 912, Philip Thayer from Imperial, Missouri, is 5th. 6th is Phil Cole out of Pixatawa, New Jersey. And then we got Charles Laviolette out of California in the number 7 spot. That is a rundown of the early standings in all these classes here after lap 1 at this Maxxis General GNCC. As we turn our attention back to the Racer TV broadcast itself here, Fred Andrews, we're watching and haven't caught sight of the leaders in quite some time, but if you're doing the math, they're due in about 18 minutes or so, and that would be actually your overall leader of, again, Marty Christofferson, but it's the XC1s due in about 17 minutes. They're about 45 seconds difference. Actually, I believe they turned about a 15-second faster lap than McGill and the boys out there. So that's why we see the 45-second difference because of the time adjustments there. But again, Adam McGill is physically in the lead. That's the one we'll be watching for to come by the finish line first here today. And I would assume, Fred, that he will be picking up or at least catching a 2-lap board as he comes through.
Yeah, Ryan, looks like maybe only going to have like a 3-lap race then?
Oh, no, this will be the end of lap 2 if they catch that 2-lap board this time. So we got 1 down. We're working on 2. I know it already seems like so long. I know what you mean. That first lap was a long one, there's no doubt.
And I'm looking at the track, and I was daydreaming too, but I'm surprised how clean they are. I expected them to be a lot more mud sticking to them. So there must be a little bit of water laying out there in some puddles, or some of the creeks are actually going through maybe or cleaning them off, because I expected to be big, heavy mud, but man, the track really looks like it's in great conditions.
It does. Look at this final turn leading to the finish line itself. Even the muddy, mucky stuff that we were talking about, if you get off into, was going to be a problem. A lot of that has been blown off. So we've got a rather wide race line coming through there. Now, whether it will present an opportunity for passing in those final turns, that question remains to be answered. But I think it's starting to open up, and the track is starting to widen out quite a bit. If it's doing it there, I'm sure it's doing it in other places out there also over 11.2 miles.
Yeah, Ron, you know what I like about the finish here? It's got all these zigs and zags before the finish. So if these guys are close, that's really going to make for some interesting trying to pass, and the spectators can watch it all go down if it really comes to that.
Most certainly, as we continue to watch, we're now almost 54 minutes into this race as we watch the time clock tick away now, and still wondering whether or not the XC2 Pro-Am guys are going to be able to keep pace up there and keep ahead of the guys. If, again, Adam McGill stays out front, I'm going to have to venture to think that the pace is going to pick up a little bit more. But, you know, the funny thing about that first lap, that looked like a first lap from about 5 years ago. You know, they used to all kind of nose to tail it seemed like, for the first lap and a half, and then it would be kind of like somebody flipped the switch and turned the green light on, and they go. But as of lately, the last year or so, man, I mean, it's been such a heated battle between last year, especially between Walker Fowler and Chris Borge. I mean, when they got out, they took off as hard and fast as they could go, and they would start to stretch things out. There's some lap traffic ahead of. Yep, that's your leader, I believe. Isn't that the 521 of McGill, if I'm not mistaken? Or was that another rider? It still looked like McGill. McGill's bike's a little harder to pick out this week because he is riding that. It was McGill and a lapper, so that 521 a little harder to pick out because of, as Jen said, the bike's not as flashy. It's that practice bike that he's riding out there. But regardless, if it gets the job done, that's what the important factor is here. There's Brian Wolf, the 341. It almost looked green, that number plate did, but actually looking a little closer, and I believe that's second place now. And if that's the case, look at that. Remember when they were here a lap ago, they were nearly nose to tail. Brian had about a 5-bike length lead over everybody else. Everybody else was nose to tail. This time around, you see McGill way out front ahead of the rest of the pack. He's catching that lap traffic. And even the 341 of Brian Wolf is by himself in that number 2 spot, and he's got a little bit of breathing room. So now we're starting to see the more traditional GNCC ATV racing start to shape up.
Yeah, Ron, they're starting to stretch it out a little bit right now, and I'd say Adam McGill's, like you said, he's going to go for the win. He knows that he can run that pace. He ran it all last week, came up a little short, and he's not going to want to come up short because of something happened down the track. So he's going to give it everything he's got, and it's going to be interesting to see if Walker Fowler or Chris Borich have made some passes. They put themselves in the right spot to get to the front of the line. That's inevitably where we think they should be, but it'd be interesting to see if they can start moving and picking some guys off and getting there. And and the track's getting kind of one line a little bit here right where we're at, so these guys are kind of following. So I'm always amazed how the quad guys can actually get around those guys and pass. On a motorcycle you can pick different lines real quick, but these guys are really good at somehow bumping and moving and getting to the front.
Well, Chris Borich was 10th place at the end of the first lap of racing. Walker Fowler was running 6th behind Bryson Neal. They were nearly nose to tail. And I tell you, those are some big names that we got trying to work up through the pack right now. It will be interesting. A lot of questions, I'm sure, are rising about Chris Borich and what's going on. Those big changes, those late announcements of the changes taking place there, making the switch to the Yamaha and dedicating this 2015 season to that. I know a lot of folks are thinking, oh, wow, man, he didn't have much time to prepare for the season. But what you got to realize is Chris has ridden nothing but a Yamaha since he hit Florida right after Christmas. So he has been training on this brand of machine. So don't think that that's what it is. I'm just telling you, folks, just like any and everybody else, Chris Borich is finally starting to find, I think, those obstacles that arise. And I think a lot of the obstacles come in the fact of what happened last year, because everyone saw that the champ is nearly beatable. He may have won that championship, but they saw Chris Borich down. They saw Chris Borich with his back against the wall. They know it's possible, so they want to be the ones to do it. So if you get 2, 3, 4 guys that start believing that they can win, then all of a sudden Chris Borich has really got his hands full now.
Yeah, Rodney, with Walker Fowler almost winning last year, everybody else kind of saw it. And then at the first round when Adam McGill was going to almost won the race, so he knows he can beat Chris Borich. And I think Chris Borich did the right thing in Florida. He wasn't feeling it. He took a third. He's in it for the long haul. It's not his first run at a championship, so third is good points. And, if you get no points, you're in trouble. So he took third. And, even here today, even if he doesn't win today or doesn't get in the top spot, he's still keeping himself where he needs to be in the championship. It's a long year, it's a long race, and he's only going to get stronger and better as he goes on. And I'm sure he's got that Yamaha dialed in just as he wanted to, or he wouldn't have made the switch.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point exactly. Now, one thing to point out, too, Chris is very, very fast. He's been training very hard, and as we well know, man, these guys, they feel like they got his number right now. But, don't count Chris out yet, because we know that Chris is able to pull hard. He's able to pull fast. He's able to make passes quick. Remember, we always talked about the patented last lap passes that Chris Borich has made. So we're not going to take the speed away from Chris Borich just yet, just because he's struggling these first 2 rounds. But as 6-time champion, the maturity is there. He learned a lot chasing Bill Balance, so he knows, like you said, it's a long season. You can start with the chips down. It's just you got to do exactly what he did last year. Do just enough sometimes to make the championship come to you, and he did that last year, and it may be a little even tougher this year, but don't count Chris out, and I'm not going to count him out until I see him mathematically completely out of the equation.
Yeah, and then, like you said, he's been 6-time champ, and that hasn't happened for a long time, and here they come to the pits right now for gas.
There is your leader, Adam McGill, in his Papa Mark there. That's part of the big McGill Mafia. Haley there helping out. And there's Spider Graphics Rodney there with him, too. Looks like he's got all kinds of help from all kinds of individuals. So McGill, now let's look at that. Look at the deficit there between first and second. as the rest of the crew are waiting for their riders to check in. We've seen Brock Booth there, B. Neal Motorsports, Bryce Neal's mechanic there.
Well, Adam's not playing, is he? He got in, got his fuel, got new goggles, and he is down the road.
He said he was out to destroy these guys. No more friends on the racetrack.
Well, he's definitely doing it right now. You know, these guys, that's amazing the lead he's got, Rodney, because a little bit ago, Brian Wolf was not that far behind him.
There went Brian just a moment ago, and I believe that was the third place ride. Chris Bithell right behind him. Here comes Walker Fowler. Fowler, I believe, is up to fourth place now as he's gotten around Kevin Yoho, it looks like.
You can see Walker's mechanic there scraping that mud off his helmet, Rodney. Like I was saying earlier, that just weighs on your head and pulls your visor down, and off he goes. And
there you saw, too, they had the canister of water out there. They were trying to get that heavy, thick mud out of the radiator itself because it packs up. And it not only creates weight, but it creates a lot of heat. Heat. And that's one reason these guys, a lot of them, and most of them, if they aren't, they should be running that AMSOIL product out there, because that's one thing that's going to help you combat these kind of conditions, man, because you got to save that motor as much as possible. And one thing we can say about AMSOIL is the fact that it'll run your engine about 15 degrees cooler in the hottest of temperatures.
Yeah, Rodney, that's what we run on our Rocky Mountain Cara 4 AMSOIL Maxless team. You know, on our bikes, we run the AMSOIL antifreeze in them like that, and tomorrow's going to be a big test. You know, any little bit you can get to keep your bike cooler is important, and with that AMSOIL antifreeze, it sure will.
Wow. So AMSOIL first in synthetics and in coolant, it looks like, man. They got that all dialed in over there. You folks here at the racetrack can check out the AMSOIL display right there on Vendors Row. You folks at home can check it out online at AMSOIL.com. And don't forget, you can also play along from home or here at the racetrack. Simply tweet your podium predictions to and hashtag them GNCC Live to have a chance to win $250 in great AMSOIL product. And again, don't forget to follow at Racer TV on Instagram and, of course, on Twitter. As we look at the race clock now, XC1 Pro Class due in about 7 minutes, and I'm going to have to think that pace is quick. And we had a 34:38 last time. We expect track times to or lap times to actually get shorter as the race wears on. We're going to see the tail of this one now and see whether or not that's the case. We're standing by, it looks like, in the Coastal Waynesburg Yamaha pits of the sophomore Jay Shadron. Remember, Jay Shadron, Masontown, nearly took a big rookie win last year. He was the rider that skipped the XC2 Pro-Am straight from the College A class after finishing third in that championship and came straight to the XC1 Pro class, earned himself a top 10 number the first year out. There are some of the Yamaha boys. That's actually Cole Richardson, I believe, in the pits there from the XC2 Pro-Am class. And now here comes Jay Shadron. Looks like he may have fallen behind the 8-ball just a little bit. We'll know more about that whenever we come around for the second lap's complete. Leaders do win in about 6 minutes according to timing and scoring right now. Jay Shadron, the young sophomore, if I'm not mistaken, I think he may still be in high school even. And off he goes now out of the pits. So we're looking for Adam McGill, Brian Wolf, Chris Bithell, and I think that Walker Fowler may have moved into that number 4 spot. There's the number 20 machine checking in with us now, as looks like Randy Hamilton running run 13th place overall right now in the XC2 Pro-Am. He's running 6th place in the class, so he's still got a shot at the podium right now. If we do math, he was only about 15 or 20 seconds from a podium position there at the end of the first lap, and we know Randy's got the speed to be able to make that time up late in the race.
Yeah, right now, you know, the lap times here are really long today, and it's it's amazing. These guys are going to have to really dig down deep because the lap times are going to be longer and longer, and we're a minute and 3 right now, so trying to do a little math myself here. I mean,
an hour and 3. An hour and 3. So if we went 2 more, let's say if we went, this will be the end of 2, and if we go 2 more,
2:10.
Yeah, we'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of about a 2-hour and 10-minute race, and that could tell a different tale to this story as well. Got to have a little bit of, remember we talked about McGill's, not necessarily conditioning, but how things just seem to kind of let loose for him on those, well, in that final half hour or so. I don't think that's going to be so much the case today. I really, really don't. I think that Adam is so fired up. There's McGill now making his way through, I'm not sure, is this the FMF PowerPoint region of the racetrack? It's a uphill section, I believe, the FMF PowerPoint. Around that 10-mile mark right now as he goes up. He turnkeys around the top of it, kind of a horseshoe, and back down. Again, these hills, Fred, are rather deceiving, and these PowerPoints can be somewhat deceiving sometimes just simply because the camera doesn't do the terrain justice, I don't believe.
No, Rodney, with the camera you can't see the steepness of it, the off cambers and
second
stuff.
Place.
And right now, second place is coming here, and it looks like it's.
Is that the
looks like two. You don't know who it is, but he's definitely a little bit far back there. Alan McGill seemed like he's actually stretching the lead out.
Yeah, I didn't quite. We'll see if we can't get the number on this one. That one might. Oh, is that number 6? I believe that's Bryson Neal. No, it can't be.
I thought it was number 8.
Maybe it is a number 8. If it's a number 8, still don't know who that is. That would be an XT2 guy, if I'm not mistaken, maybe. But anyway, regardless, I'm going to go right now number 6. And if that's the case, man, Bryson Neal's moved up from 5th into the number 2 spot here at the 10-mile marker. But that can kind of make some sense, man. I kind of thought I saw something going on over there in the pits, and there was some extended stops for some of those riders over there. So, you know, actually, if Bryson did not stop in the pits and everyone else did, that would be explaining a lot right there. And knowing his mechanic, Brock Booth, who used to work with Walker Fowler for many, many years over on the Bill Balance Yamaha racing team, that sounds like a strategy they would use.
Yeah, Rodney, if that's the case, maybe they did. Like you said, he decided not to pit to get some track position, move himself up, and then this time he will need to pit, but hopefully he'll have a big enough gap where he can get fuel and get back out and maybe stay ahead of those guys.
Jenny on the spot. Got an update from the pro pits. What's going on over there right now, Jen?
You know, a lot of people are wondering what happened to Cole Richardson. He had such a big lead last week in Florida. He's a little bit further back today, but it sounds like on that opening lap, he actually got stuck. He lost his goggles, and he had to ride the rest of that first lap without goggles, so his pit was a little bit longer than normal. Plus, he had that extra time getting stuck, so he is currently making his way through the pack.
And another big question right now, Jen Kenyon, is what's going on over there in the Maxxis B. Neal Yamaha pits over there. I think that they may have skipped a pit stop. Did you happen to catch that?
Yeah, so we saw Bryson Neal come in on that opening lap. He was the only rider to stop and actually get fuel, but he couldn't have gotten that much fuel since they hadn't really raced that much. So we'll be curious to see if he has to stop anymore and if that comes to play here at the end of the race or not.
Well, somebody asked me about strategies earlier today, what kind of strategies these guys are possibly going to be looking at. Well, I'll tell you right now, a lot of different strategies are in play, and Brock Booth is good at playing strategies. Remember, he worked with Balance Motorsports for a long time, Bill Balance for a long, long time, and, you know, he's got a lot of those crafty ways that the old 9-time GNCC champ has.
2-lap board out, Rodney. 2-lap board is out.
2-lap board is out. An hour and 8 minutes into this race. Now Adam McGill out front, 46 seconds. He takes second place on the rear bumper of the 341 of Brian Wolf, stretches it out to a 46-second lead. No, it wasn't because of pit stops, because he came in, he pitted, and he left. He got a full pit stop with goggles, full gas, and everything. McGill is on a mission today. I told you he's looking for redemption.
Hey guys, this is Jen. I'm over here by the finish line, and actually the 341 of Brian Wolf just stopped in, and Corbin Knox did some things to his rear wheel. I'm not really sure. Maybe they were tightening something up, but he did lose maybe 20 seconds there.
Wow. I tell you what, we got Adam McGill out front, Bryson Neal in second. Brian Wolf checked in third. Behind him, though, 1 second was Chris Borich. So Borich will get around and move up into the number 3 spot now. Yoho will move up now into the number 4 spot. And I believe that will also move Chris Bithell up into the number 5 spot. That is your top 5 after 2 laps complete here at the Maxxis General GNCC. And we're back with more right after this.
This RacerTV.com live broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. By RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready. And Maxxis. Find your flow.
to RacerTV.com's GNCC live broadcast. Rodney Tomlin along with Fred Andrews and, of course, Jen Kenyon, who's got an update coming out there in the pits. What's going on, Jen?
That's right, guys. I did a little digging over there after the finish. It sounds like Brian Wolf's skid plate was bent up so badly that he didn't have rear brakes. So what they were doing was trying to bend that skid plate back down, but they said it was really difficult because of all the mud that was packed in it. And then I also ran into Brock Booth down there, and I asked him what's going on with the pit strategy, and he said they're going to have to pit one more time. He was hoping that this last lap wasn't going to go so long, because if it had, then they probably wouldn't have to pit again. So they are going to pit here at the end, but he said, hey, we got into second place with that first pit strategy.
Well, that was a good pit strategy. There's no doubt about that, as Jen Kenyon gives us the update there. And, of course, let's take a look at the Mid-State Chevy Midway Report at the halfway point of this race. 2 laps down, 2 laps to go. As we take a look at the overall, it looks like things are settling back into the norm here as far as that is concerned. A last lap, if you remember, after the first lap, Marty Christopherson, A.J. Kuntz, and the boys were all running up front in the 1, 2, and 3 overall positions. Well, that has changed. They are all the way back down in 12th, 13th, and 14th place positions. So Adam McGill got on the gas. So right now, Adam McGill leading Bryson Neal. Brian Wolf in the number 3 spot. Now, that has changed a little bit, remember, because Brian Wolf had some skid plate issues and so forth, so they're working on that, trying to get that organized and fixed back and get him back on the track. So I believe we've got Chris Borch up to the number 3 spot. Kevin Yoho would then go to 4th, and I'm looking at Walker Fowler and Chris Bithell there in that 5th place position right now. I believe Bithell actually, I thought, checked in before Walker, but according to timing and scoring now, it's saying that he's running in 7th place position. But regardless, they're all right there, and they're all within a second or so of each other. Jay Shadron, the number 9, is back in 8th. Jared McClure is back at the number 9 spot. And Johnny Gallagher rounds out your top 10 now as we go to the XC2 Pro-Am class. After 2 laps of racing complete here, we told you a big change going on as far as the overall is concerned, and a few changes as far as the running order in this is concerned, but not anything monumental. Right now, Marty Christopherson continues to lead. He's got a 19.5-second lead over A.J. Kuntz. Kuntz was running 3rd. He's moved up to 2nd now. And Cole Richardson, who I believe was, 6th place at the end of that first lap, maybe 7th. He's up to the number 3 spot in the class now. Blake Tornes, who was one of the front runners here in the top 3, now runs in 4th. Randy Hamilton, who was running 6th or 7th in the class, has now taken over the number 5 spot aboard the number 20 now. James Green in 6th. Wes Kinsley runs in 7th of the XC2 Pro-Am. Stephen Golden is 8th aboard the 413. As we update things here, Fred J. Marley rounds out your top 10 aboard the number 19. Looking a little further down now, we'll do our top 5, the College A class. Kenny Schick leading Anthony Barnes. Greg Covert running in the number 3 spot. Devin Fehan running in 4th right now, rounding out the top 5. Austin Abney aboard the number 704. Looks like about a 7-second lead at the end of that first lap over Anthony Barnes. Kenny Schick was, and it appears that that lead has started to open up quite a bit more now. About 15 seconds as Greg Covert now checks in the number 2 spot out of Ithaca, New York. So we are seeing some changes take place in that College A class right now. We got Barnes now, I believe, in 3rd with Fehan in 4th, and Abney rounding out the top 5 to the Junior A 22-plus class. Leaders due in the next couple of minutes for a second lap complete, so we'll go ahead and let you know how things are breaking down at the end of the first lap. Michael McAvoy leading Steve Covert leading Michael McAvoy. He was about 26 seconds behind Covert. McAvoy was on the number 33 in 2nd. He's out of Chester, West Virginia. Covert, your leader, out of Ithaca, New York. Vienna, West Virginia is home to Brett Hinkey, the number 896 in 3rd. 387, Josh Beach out of Bowling Green, Indiana is 4th. Nathan Hornacek out of Norton, Ohio rounds out the top 5. Your Vet A 28-plus class due in any time now with Matt Pierce. Pierce grabbing the whole shot at Corning, Ohio there in that first turn, or first couple of turns off the start. The 939 has a 21.7-second lead over a nemesis in this class, another Ohio rider out of New Concord, Matt Hanna, the 407. Dustin Hendershot out of Washington, West Virginia, 3 minutes, 49 seconds back in the number 3 spot. Walter Shoemaker runs in another 44 seconds back in 4th. Wesley Stone out of Auburn, Pennsylvania rounds out your top 5. Senior A B38 plus John Collada leading Aaron Delancey. Collada, the 41 out of Waxhaw, North Carolina. The 42 of Aaron Delancey out of St. Louisville, Ohio. 2 minutes, 49 seconds back. Man, I tell you, the mud taking its toll in this class, it looks like, for the senior AB 38 plus. Brian Foltz, the number 530, runs in the number 3 spot out of Sharpsville, Pennsylvania, another minute and 38 seconds back. 4th place, the 423, Tommy Thompson out of Kannapolis, North Carolina, only 33.5 seconds off pace. And your media all-star rider, the 636, Mark Batson out of LaSalle, Michigan, rounds out your top 5, another minute 21 back. And that's one thing that we can expect to see in these conditions. Some folks having more luck in the mud than others, but those gaps between positions a little bit wider. As we take a look at the B classes now in this Mid-State Chevy Midway report, we got Charles Dawson leading Braden Schick by only 1.5 seconds there. Dustin Atkinson was running third, about 7 seconds back aboard the 274 out of Beverly, West Virginia. Schick out of Cranberry, Pennsylvania. Dawson, your leader, out of Lisbon, Ohio. Oldenburg, Indiana, home to the 457 of Blake Meyer in 4th. Jeremy Hill, the 515 out of Pacific, Missouri, rounding out your top 5. Junior B 22-plus class, Eric Hollifield, the 77 out of Bakersville, North Carolina. 34-second lead over PP DeMarco, the 450 out of Columbus, Ohio. 3rd place, the 356, Brian Falicki out of Poland, Ohio. He took the whole shot in this one, runs about 19 seconds behind DeMarco. Cody Posavec, the 612 out of Fayetteville, Georgia, running in 4th. And the 416, Dustin Dickerson out of Warsaw, Ohio, rounding out your top 5. A lot of Ohio guys doing well today in the mud, Fred Andrews.
We like the mud, Rodney. We like it.
We do like the mud. Vet B class, we got this one, and this is the last class in our Mid-State Chevy Midway report. The 671 Dell Batson leading that one. He grabbed the whole shot on his media all-star machine. 42nd lead over the 234 of Chris Davidson out of Tuscumbia, Alabama. Jeremy Gushard out of Mansfield, Ohio, the 61 in 3rd. Todd Muscala, he is running in the number 4 spot at Uniontown, PA. And the 912 Philip Thayer out of Imperial, Missouri, rounds out the top 5. That is your Mid-State Chevy Midway report. Be sure and check them out on the World Wide Web at midstatechevy.com, also on Facebook, and, of course, right there in the heart of West Virginia. Mid-State Chevrolet. They stack them deep and sell them cheap.
You know, Rodney, I've been watching here on the screen while you've been doing the updates, so the track is really holding up good. I can't believe there's not real rutted out. I thought it would get real rutted, but this ground must be a little harder than I thought, and it's pushing a little bit of the top dirt off, a little bit of the roots are coming up, and, man, the track is really looking good. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, Fred, I was saying earlier, there is a bottom to this soil out there, and it has been there since, well, for a while. I rode it on Thursday. It was there. It was there yesterday during the rain, and the track crew was out working. It was there this morning for the youth, and it was there also for our first ever championship run of Polaris Ace Racing, believe it or not. We had that coming straight at us this morning just after the youth ATV riders raced their race this morning.
That's right. We just saw our first ever Polaris Ace single seat race, and Sam Yoakley, you took the checkered flag first here. Tell us about, first off, this machine and what it's like to race in the GNCCs.
I ain't practiced on it much, but he done pretty good today.
So what's it like to not have a passenger? Normally with side-by-side racing, you have that passenger. What's it like to be on your own out there?
At least you don't got people telling you what to do.
You don't like people telling you what to do?
No.
What's this machine like?
It's really fun. It's a great machine if you want to race one.
All right, so you're leading the points now in the Polaris Ace single-seat class. Are you going to race the whole series and try to go for that championship?
Yeah.
All right, well, congratulations. Do you have any sponsors behind you that brought you here to Georgia?
I want to thank Racer Tech, Polaris, Coastal, and my family.
All right, congratulations. That's Sam Yoakley, the first ever single-seat winner here at the Maxis General.
Wow, Yoakley's a big name in the sport. Also, Chris Borch, a big name, and big problems for the defending champ, Fred Andrews.
Wow, he's in the pits, Rodney. Interested to see what happened to his bike. I see some steam coming off the front of it, and they're taking the seat off. I don't know whether they're going to check the battery out or what they're doing on that thing.
Well, I tell you what, it's a tough break for Chris Borch. I know that's a heartbreaker for him, but I tell you what it is for everyone else. This is the carrot that they needed out there, dangling before them to try and get as many points as they can in the hopes that maybe Chris Borch either A, cannot score points or scores few points, and they're able to best him on the day and go into round 3 with Borch a little bit more behind the 8 ball in that one. Look at this. They're taking this.
It must have been running, Rodney, because there's no, I mean, he couldn't have got back to the pits without it running.
Right.
So there's some kind of thing, whether it's looks like maybe right there the fuel pump they're looking at where they got some water in it, their fuel pump's not working, but man, I hope they can get him fixed and get him back out there. And they're definitely trying to salvage any kind of points, excuse me, they can, because it is a long year, and 1 or 2 points is worth it.
It most certainly is. Jenny on the spot, I'm sure, is making her way down right now, and that's exactly what they're working on there. It looks like fuel line issues of some sorts, whether it be water in it. I wouldn't expect that it would be vapor locking on a day like today because the temperatures aren't nearly hot enough outside, right?
Right, you know, they're definitely working something on the fuel pump right now. He's got the lines off. Looks like they're maybe even going to put a new fuel pump in it, or maybe a hose is cracked, but, man, tough break for him.
Wow, what a heartbreaker there for our defending GNCC champion. You know that it's got to be pretty frustrating for him. But again, you got to remember he is a 6-time GNCC defending champion. So Chris Borich knows that, yeah, this might be a bad thing, but you know what? He DNF'd or came away with some no-pointer races there last year, and he still came away with the championship. It's not out of the question for him just yet.
No, Rodney, it's definitely never over till you add up all the points and he can't do it. So he can definitely bounce back from this. He's done it before, and, you know, they're looking and trying and looking at everything they can. They're wiping some mud off in there, and they were looking at some hoses on the inside, and Chris looks like he's telling Jenny what's going on right now, and she'll be able to give us a good idea what's going on here.
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, Jen's going to fix it for him, I think. Let's see if we can't get a word in with Chris Borich right now, Jen. And he seems to be at himself and at his wits. He's a true champion, and he's going to tell us what's going on, I guess. Maybe he don't want to talk.
No, right now I think maybe they're needing Chris's input on what part it is that needs fixed. And, you know, Chris is a good guy. He'll definitely tell us what's going on whenever he gets a minute. He's trying to explain to his dad what they're looking at, maybe try to find the problem. And Big Joe's got something there in his hand.
One thing you can say about Chris Borich, though, he's gone pretty quiet over the last few months. Since Christmas, there hasn't been much. I've actually called and text. I've got a little bit of reaction from and things like that, but he's not talking much to anybody. I mean, he even won't show up for the pre-race interviews. The last 2 races, he hasn't been there for the pre-race interviews.
Well, right
so he's
there,
not
Ryan,
going to talk to anybody.
It looks like they got the valve cover off the top. If you go back to the bike, there looked like the valve cover was sitting on the back fender. Whether he's some kind of internal motor issues, because right there's your valve cover.
This right here, my friends, you could be watching the end of an error there with Chris Borich, or you could be watching the beginning of a fire that is getting ready to rage. Jen Kenyon?
That's right, guys. You're exactly right. I heard Fred Andrews say something about the gasket. He blew the gasket on the valve cover, so it looks like what they're doing is trying to replace that right now. You can see on the screen they're putting some oil in, and everybody in the crew, even Chris, is working right now. He's asking for tools. He's asking for things, so we're going to let them. It looks like they're going to replace that gasket right now, and they're going to hope to get back out there. There it is.
Well, there you go.
And you can see Chris right there. You know, he knows he's out there doing his best, and the bike, you know, it's just something happens. He gave Jen a little smile. He's got the gasket, and he's not stressed. He's not panicked. He knows he's got a lot more races to go, and he can make those points up, hopefully.
Most certainly he can, and he has proven that point a couple of different occasions. So don't count the defending GNCC champ out yet. Let's check in with what's going on out here on the track. Remember, we were checking in with Adam McGill and Bryson Neal running 1 and 2, about 46 seconds back between those two. Brian Wolf was running in 3rd, and actually Chris Borich had moved all the way up to 3rd because of the issues. Remember, he was 10th place on the first lap, so we know that he can roll on that Yamaha, and he was rolling toward the front of the pack. So I don't think there's any question as to whether or not Chris is fast on a Yamaha. I think he's proven that point well in Florida there a few days ago, and he's proven it today to be able to make up the time that he made there on that second lap of racing. It's just, hey, sometimes things happen, and it takes a while to get the bugs worked out of a new program sometimes. And again, that might not even be a bug in the program. That's just a fluke thing that just happened to happen, and it's something that just has to be fixed. And unfortunately, it happened to Chris Borich.
Yeah, Rodney, there's something, like you said, that's something you can't see, you can't train, you can't look for. It's whether the gasket was bad from the factory or whether maybe it got pinched when it got put in, or, I mean, it could be 100 things. But the main thing is they're going to get it fixed. He's going to get back out there and get some points. And now the flip side of it is when Adam McGill comes in right now, they're going to say, you know, his pit board's going to say, you know, you're the man, you're way ahead. And they may even say, hey, Borich is out, and that may even be Adam's extra little boost that he needs to say, now
Yep.
I'm going to get me some real points.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, you got to think about this. The real thorn in Adam McGill's side right now, and in anybody's side out there on the racetrack, is Walker Fowler. He's been a thorn in Chris Borch's side. He's been the thorn in everybody that's ever led side. And right now, he is going to be the thorn in Adam McGill's side. But, again, he's back. Probably, I would say that Walker has moved up close to, he may be in that third place position now if you start looking at lap times and things like that, knowing how Walker can move. If he's able to make the pass, he could be in third place right now. But the thing that we got to point out, there's going to be a gap there. And there's probably going to be quite a bit of a gap as we go back and watch them still working on Chris's bike. They are going to get back out there. Again, folks, if you want to be a part of the action today and possibly pick up $250 in great AMSOIL products, tweet your podium prediction finishes to and hashtag those GNCC Live. Don't forget to follow @RacerTV as well on Instagram as well as Twitter. And Twitter is what we're doing this contest on. So hashtag GNCC Live. Your podium predictions for your chance to win $250 in AMSOIL products. Winners will be chosen randomly. Chris Borch has got his helmet back on. Looks like he may even have a new jersey on.
Yeah, guys, you know, his fiance Dawn actually prepped him a brand new helmet, put new tags on. He switched out his jersey. The thing about Chris Borch right now is that he is extremely calm. You saw in his demeanor, he's smiling. He's acting like a champion. He's going to take it as it is. He's going to go back out there and try to finish the race, and that's pretty cool to see.
Even old Joe, man, I got to hand it to Joe. He's not even getting a little bit excited right now. John Knowles, his mechanic that we've known with Chris Borch's program for a long time, whom we haven't seen for the last couple of seasons, came down to Florida to the opening round to be there with him, is back with him again here this weekend, and I'm sure it's a welcome sight to have that mechanic right there with you this week.
You know, John, Rodney, also, when you get in the pits like that and something like that's going on, you get excited and get your whole pit crew excited, and the mechanics, nobody can really do their job right. Everybody's getting in a big hurry. So right now, you know, Chris is doing the right thing. He's calm, cool, and collective, and the mechanics are working nice and cool, and everything's going to be put back together right, and you don't have to worry about anything falling off.
Well, there's B. Neal, the Maxxis B. Neal machine. Is that him on the rear wheels of your leader now, or what's going on? I believe that's McGill right there, and that is, wow, 46 seconds has been made up on Adam McGill, this time by Bryson Neal, the young gun.
It might be that little second half of the race thing coming back to haunt Adam McGill. I'm not sure.
Maybe we were right.
You know, maybe Adam McGill got caught up with some lappers, but it looks like almost the whole pack has caught up to him. So he may have had a problem, got stuck or something out there.
I know there are some tight sections out there. That's one thing that I noted whenever I rode the track. You go and you'll have a nice little fast section, a good flowing fast section. Then all of a sudden you'll drop into this really tight, gnarly section that is not gnarly necessarily, only tight. You got to kind of ease your way through those trees. And if anybody gets crossed, and there was nowhere to really get around there. So if somebody got crossed up in there, that could obviously slow things down for 30, 40 seconds, which would account for something like this happening. So we're not going to start beating on Adam yet and start saying that last hour is still his weak point in the race, because he's still out front right now, and this race is far, far from over.
Yeah, Rodney, too. It's nice. I didn't really see Walker Fowler go past there, but I'm sure he was somewhere in the little mix of that. It'd be nice to see if he's actually gotten around some of them guys that are ahead of him, if he's moved up to second or third, or even what's going on. And looks like Chris Borch just got back off his bike. I don't know if maybe it's not fired up and not working like they hoped it would, or what happened there.
Well, the helmet's coming off. The goggles are off. And there's a look of disappointment and frustration. Kenny, what's happening?
Guys, I'm just overhearing some speculation down here. I don't think they know exactly what's wrong, but Danny Fowler may have mentioned that the piston may be broken, so might not just be as quick as changing out the gasket there.
Wow, that's a heartbreaker for sure, and unfortunate incidents and circumstances. But, Fred, again, today, on days like today, those are the kind of things we expect to see happen to nearly any and everyone.
Yeah, Rodney, when it's muddy conditions like this, any and anything can happen. That's the nature of the beast with the mud. You know, sometimes it works for you, sometimes it works against you, and it looks like it's worked against Chris Borch today.
Well, tough break for the champ there as we check in 9 minutes now before our leaders are due in. About an hour and 31 minutes, working on an hour and 31 minutes into the race. We're nearing the completion of lap 3. Again, going to be a little longer race than what these guys are used to. They normally right around the 2-hour mark. This is going to be at least 2:10, we're figuring.
And with Rodney, with that gasket being blown like that in the head, like that, the oil's actually losing out of the motor, so it's not in there to cool it. It's not in there to lubricate all the valves and the piston and all that stuff. So if he was losing oil the whole time, yeah, I can see a piston breaking then because it's going to get hot. It's got nothing to cool it with. So that's a tough bake for Chris Forrest on a day like today.
No doubt, but redemption could be his in North Carolina. Don't forget, folks, our next GNCC event will be taking place in 2 weeks as we'll be heading to the FMF Still Creek GNCC right there in Morganton, North Carolina. The foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, probably one of the most picturesque. I know we've got a lot of beautiful places and a lot of great places, but something about that particular facility there in the foothills, a very picturesque event. And, of course, our upcoming live shows here on RacerTV.com. Coming up later today, we've got the GNCC UTV race. And then tomorrow, on Sunday at about 1 o'clock, it'll be the GNCC bikes for their 3-hour racing. Then Saturday, March 28th, when we head to the FMF Still Creek GNCC for ATV racing and bikes on Sunday, March 29th. Be sure and join us. Write them down on your calendar. Circle it. It's all happening right here on Racer TV. All racing, all the time. 1 hour and what are we looking at now? 32 minutes, 33 minutes now is what we're approaching as far as the race clock is concerned here. Leaders due in about 7 minutes. Your leader, Adam McGill, with hot on his rear tire. Last check was Bryson Neal. Brian Wolf wasn't far off the pace. Yoho, Fowler, Bithell, all the boys. Now, wait a minute. We didn't say we saw Fowler in that group, or did you say you saw Fowler?
No, I didn't see him, but, there's so many guys, there's mud on them. I really didn't get a good look to say, yeah, there went Walker, but I was just, wondering if he got by those guys, because right now the last lap, Rodney, he kind of stayed the same. He went from 6th to 7th or 7th to 6th, so he picked up one position, but Chris Borich was able to pick up like 4 or 5 positions and actually pass Walker and, make a few guys in between him. So if Walker's going to make something happen, he needs to start getting to the front because we're coming to the white flag right now, and if Adam McGill is going to make his statement and make his win, he's going to have to take off this last lap. And, Bryce Neal's like, no, I'm coming after you. So those two can actually get together and start pushing each other and leave the pack. So it's going to be exciting.
Speaking of Bryson Neal, there he is back in the pits for that final pit stop. Remember, they said he was going to have to stop one more quick time. I didn't see him get past.
Yeah, guys, interesting to note, Bryson Neal actually came through the pits in front of Adam McGill. Adam McGill got past him there as he pit, but we do have a rider that is stuck in the middle of this pro row. They're going to fuel him.
That's Chris Bithell.
Chris Bithell, yeah.
He's out of fuel in the middle of pro row right now. And teammates, man, they hurt themselves in the mud. It looks like trying to limp down again. And Bithell's trying to fire that machine back up. Wow. Bryson Neal leading this race. Had it not been for the pit stop, he would be out front still. But Bithell was able to get that machine fired back up and rolling. There is the Wolf pits. We see Andy Wolf there with a fresh pair of goggles for Brian. Brian is yet to check in. There is the, what is that, the 31 machine 31. We're looking at there. I think that's one of our XC2 guys, maybe a College A guy. But regardless, that is the Jay Shadron pits. But that's not Jay Shadron, I don't think, right now.
Hey, guys, we also saw Brian Wolf did check in. He flew past Chris Bithell. As Bithell was accelerating, Wolf was trying to pass him through the pro pits.
That was what the confused look on Miss Annie's face was all about. She was wondering why he didn't stop for his goggles. I'll tell you why he didn't, because he saw another position.
Oh, yeah, he was going for it.
Yes, he is. There's a lot of guys, Jen. It seems like a lot of guys are going for it today.
Yeah, these rain conditions, like we said earlier, sometimes this can be an equalizer. This could be a chance for those guys to really push through. And normally we see the same old guys up on the podium, but today it's a switch up all around.
It's going to be a whole new face to the podium. Could it be a new era in the GNCC Racing Nation? 4.5 minutes out from a white flag is what we should see. Last check, it was McGill out front. He'd just gotten around Bryson Neal. Bryson, though, did not lose any time there nor lose any positions in the pits. He got back at it. I didn't even see a lapped rider get by Bryson Neal, so that's good news for him. As soon as Adam hit some of that slower stuff, Bryson may have been able to catch right back up to him.
You know what, Rodney, too, and the racing's really close today, so even though or I should say, as soon as one guy bobbles, man, another guy gets by. You know, Bithell had problem in the pit area, ran out of fuel, boom, there goes 2 or 3 guys by him. So the racing's really close, and that even feeds your hunger.
Oh, man.
So these guys are really going after it. It's really cool to see that today.
It is. And you know, I think that a lot of them have got the word that Chris Borich is out, they've seen him off his bike and his machine there in the pro pits, and that's even extra incentive for a lot of those guys, I think, because they know even though they can't win, they're going to beat Chris Borich today, and that means a lot to them.
Yeah, you know, I didn't see Walker Fowler again that time. He's my mystery guy, but, you know, I seen his mechanic come run over this way, so I know he's in the hunt there somewhere too. And, you know, even with the mud on, when you're passing a guy you don't even know, maybe, hey, you just passed Walker Fowler, and that he can even pick them up and give them a little more energy.
Exactly. So we'll see whether or not the streak of Walker Fowler, if he's still on fire today or not. He rode like he was on fire just 1 week ago down at Palatka, Florida. Is he ablaze still? As we've seen Chris Bach heading toward the finish line region to cheer on his buddy Johnny Gallagher. Chris Bach finishing 3rd last week on the JGR Honda in the motorcycle division. It amazes me the camaraderie these days between the ATV and motorcycle pros, Fred.
Yeah, you know, Chris Borich actually has a lot of them come down there. Nick Davis, who rides for on my team, he's down there training. All the four-wheeler guys are training with the motorcycle guys, and they've all become really good friends, and they all help elevate each other beginning of the year to get all their training good. And, you know, it's nice. They go out there and watch them, and the four-wheeler guys stay on Sunday and they watch the bikes, you know. And that's what we're here for mainly. We all want to have fun. We all want to do the best we can, but it's the camaraderie that's really cool.
It is. And there is that the number 5 of Cole Richardson in? Oh, man, it looks like he's having some heating issues there. They're trying to get the...
And he took off without goggles, Rodney. That's kind of unusual. You know, you stop for gas, you might as well wipe your face off because they're spraying your radiators down with water anyways and get some nice clean goggles on.
Wow, interesting points to ponder there for that young man. Checking back, remember last time we saw the XC2, he was all the way up to 3rd after running way back in the pack. He was behind Marty Christopherson and A.J. Kuntz, and it was Cole Richardson in 3rd. We saw Blake Tornes over in the pits there a minute ago. Now, if you think about it, Blake Tornes was in the pits for a long time before that number 5 showed up of Cole Richardson. So maybe, unless Blake came in off the track someplace else, maybe we see that even the young Cole Richardson is having some struggles. There's McGill on screen now, making his way at about the 10-mile mark now. Closing in on the finish line region. So we should be seeing McGill here at the finish line and taking a white flag in less than a minute according to my calculations right now.
And it looks like Bryce Neal's fallen off a little bit.
Had that little bit of a pit stop, so that might be part of the gap opening up. Wasn't able to close it back, but he did it on the last lap. He may be able to do it again here.
Yeah, Rodney, you never know like that, but it looks like Adam McGill maybe also saw that chance. Okay, I'm back in the lead now. It's my turn. It's win or lose. It's all on me.
Wow. You know what? If he does this, and if Walker Fowler continues to struggle today, and Chris Borich's issues, do you realize that Adam McGill will have the points lead heading into round number 3 at the FMF Steel Creek GNCC in just 2 weeks?
Wow.
Yeah. How long has it been since anyone other than Chris Borich or Walker Fowler has led the points race?
That goes to show you, Rodney, you know, everybody else is working hard to be a champion too, like those guys want to be, and it's anybody's championship right now. These guys are all training hard. The track's really cool right now. It's getting rough, and you know, Walker's struggling for some reason, but the week will win, and we'll see what'll happen.
We most certainly will. Leaders are due in right now, as a matter of fact. According to my calculations, I had them in. They should have been in 10 minutes ago. I could be a few seconds off, though, so we'll continue to watch this finish line region for the leaders to check in. And, wow, what a big, big day. What a monumental day as far as GNCC racing is concerned. The tides are shifting, and we're starting to see a whole new face to the GNCC ATV racing nation out there. New points leaders quite possibly after today. And a new fire, new determination out there. And what would be neat, man, this whole McGill Mafia thing that Adam has been working on, man, can you imagine how big the family will be getting whenever we go into the Steel Creek? Here comes McGill into the finish line region now, those finish line chicanes. And again, like you said, Fred, it looks like a little comfort in the lead there.
Yeah, you know, I also noticed that Adam McGill tweeted this weekend that, you know, he's giving away the Mafia shirts, that free Mafia shirts for the crew. He'd like to see a whole bunch of them out there, and I don't know how many he gave away, but right now there'll be a lot of them out there yelling and screaming because he's getting the white flag, and he's definitely not looking back. He's looking forward. And
32:32, I think, was the last lap time around. A 33:49 that time. Remember, he lost that 45 seconds. So something happened to Adam McGill on that lap. It made the laps longer, but at the same time, he's still able to hang on the lead. So whatever problems that McGill ran into, it looks like everyone is faced with the same issues, Fred.
Yeah, Ryan, it could be those mud holes now that they're having to go around them. You know, they could be really deep in the center, and they got to go around, so it's taking them a little bit extra time. And you know, everything kind of slows down towards the end of the race. The ruts are getting deeper, the track's getting rougher, and, you know, you're getting a little bit fatigued. So the lap times I would figure would get a little bit longer at the end, but I also see Adam McGill right now. He saw that white flag. I'm sure his pit crew said, hey, you've got 27-second lead. I'm sure that was a little bit of a sigh of relief for him, and now he's really digging deep, and he's not going to let that lap rider lose this one for him today. It's going to be win or lose for him.
Amen. He does not want to see deja vu from Florida to Georgia. This is about the same amount of time he had over Walker Fowler heading into that last lap. The only thing different then was that Adam began celebrating kind of early. We have not seen Adam celebrate any. He is out there. He means business. There is no celebrations. And look at this, Fred. You pointed out, man, we got changes going on back there for Walker Fowler. Instead of moving up through the pack, he's dropping back.
Yeah, and it looks like right there, Johnny Gallagher, he's moved up to 5th place.
So here's the running order. Check this out. Adam McGill, Bryson Neal, Jay Shadron in the number 3 spot. The number 9 out of Mount Pleasant, that Waynesburg Yamaha rider there. That is amazing. We've seen him on the podium before. We've seen him nearly take a win. But here's another important factor to point out. Bryson may be 27 seconds down, but Jay Shadron's only 4 seconds behind him. What happens? These two get together. They chase down Adam McGill. All of a sudden, we could have a sophomore take the win here.
Sure could, Rodney. You know, when you're in a pack like that, you start to go faster, and they could definitely catch Adam McGill.
Well, I tell you what, we got an hour and 43 minutes into this race, about 31 minutes before a checker flag flies. Adam McGill leads. Bryson Neal, Jay Shadron in 3rd, Chris Bithell in 4th, and Johnny Gallagher in 5th. And RacerTV.com will be back with more right after this.
May 2nd, 2015, Monster Energy Supercross tears through Las Vegas.
This is going to be a good one.
As the world's fastest riders hit the track for a Sin City showdown.
Las Vegas, the season finale. They're going to go bar to bar. What's going to happen?
That's what I'm talking about. The finale of the Monster Energy Supercross season. Saturday, May 2nd, Sam Boyd Stadium.
GNCC Live as we check in with some of our morning youth races this morning. There's the 125 senior start we saw out there bright and early this morning. And there, girls 8 to 15 class. You talk about excitement. That's a lot of fun to watch. These youth races, even in the youth ATV ranks, are a lot of fun. And that's where we are growing our next champions right there.
Future of the sport coming up. It's glad to see, you know, how the numbers have come up so much, Rodney.
Oh, they have. And if you've got a family member or you yourself want to get involved in GNCCRacing.com, how hard is it, Fred?
Well, all you got to do, Rodney, you come here, sign up, you know, pay your AMA license, and go racing.
That's right. You want all the details and information, know how to figure that out, where to find us. Next, go to GNCCRacing.com on the World Wide Web, and you too could be a part of this GNCC Racing Nation. Right now, we're looking at an hour and 46.5 minutes into this race. We're about 28 minutes out from checker flags. It's McGill, Neal, Shadron, Bithell, Gallagher, your top 5. Fowler back in 6th. Kevin Yoho in 7th. Jared McClure is 8th. Landon Wolf in 9th. And oh my, Brian Wolf has dropped all the way back to the number 10 spot, but still a great ride for him, all things considered today, I think, Fred.
Yeah, Rodney, you know, he started out really good. He had a little troubles. I'm not sure if he didn't get goggles that last lap or not, but yeah, he's having a great ride today after Florida. And you know, something I noticed on there was Johnny Gallagher in 5th place. You know, I saw the other day he tweeted that all his podium finishes have come from this track.
Is that right? And that makes sense. Yeah, I think if not all of them, at least 50% of them, because he's only gotten 2, and he got the one right here just, what was it, 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I remember it had been 10 years since he had gotten a podium before, and he did it right here, and it was just like the most monumental thing for him, for GNCC, the race fans. I think, you know, it really breathed life, a resurgence back into his program. He's always got the fans. He's one of the guys that gets the most cheers whenever you hear his name announced on the starting line and stuff. And I think after this race here today, if he continues to ride like this, the boys in Georgia are going to really love old Johnny Gallagher.
Yeah, you know, and after the ride he had in Florida, it really wasn't what he was looking for, and he come here today and he's in 5th place, and that's an awesome ride. So it'd be interesting to see if he can get that another podium here. You know, Georgia's been good to him. Let's see if he can't pick off a couple more guys here this last lap.
Hey, listen up. We've got an important announcement for those folks here at the racetrack right now. I need the attention of all UTV racers. You need to make your way to rider registration. UTV drivers, please go to rider registration immediately. All UTV drivers for this evening's race, I guess I should say, you need to report to rider registration right now. If you know the whereabouts of any of those drivers, let them know. They need to be going to rider registration as we speak. Back at this one now, Fred, 26 minutes away from a checker flag, and still a lot of unanswered questions. What about Adam McGill? Remember, we harped on it last week.
Well, about him not being able to finish what he started.
Exactly. And it wasn't so much.
It seems like the last lap just kind of always nips him. You know, he just. Same thing happened to me, Adam McGill. I'm not picking on you or nothing. I've led many GNCC races. You know, coming to the finish, man, I'm already counting my money. I'm not sure if he's counting his money. I'd be counting my money, and all of a sudden disaster strikes. I'm on the ground, or I hit a tree and I fall down. You know, it's never over till you get to the finish. So you always got to stay focused. You always got to be on your game until you see that checkered flag. Then you can start counting your money.
Exactly. And, again, you know, we'd made mention of it, and other people had talked about, you know, Adam always very strong those first 3 laps, especially if he's leading, and that final lap always seems to kind of slip away from him. But, you know, today I don't know if that's going to be the case. And I know we caught up with him earlier today before the race got underway, and I think he had a little different mindset coming into this one.
Yeah, it was a tough race. I mean, we led all day and got fast, and I don't know what to say. Then we're just going to hammer down and not let that happen this weekend. So, you know, rain, mud, don't matter. We're going to go out there and win this thing. That's it, plain and simple.
That's exactly what he told me this morning, Fred. I'm going out to win this thing. That's it, plain and simple.
Positive attitude, and it goes a long way. You know, you tell yourself you're going to win, you're going to win. You got to picture yourself winning a race before you can win a race.
Now, here's something else he said. He was talking championship. Because he said, I have not won a championship in 10 years, which was the Pro-Am championship. He said, I have not won a championship in 10 years. So Adam McGill's not only thinking a race win right now, he's looking at the big picture. So
yeah, and the way he's riding, Rodney, he can definitely be a champion. You know, he's getting points when he needs to. He knows what his problem was the first race. In this race, he says, hey, I'm winning it. I'm showing everybody I'm here. I'm for the championship. I'm taking it one race at a time. We'll see what happens.
Most definitely will. We'll see what happens in a little under 24 minutes, an hour and 50 minutes into this one. And we're going to be closer to the 2 hour and 15 minute mark on this one, Fred Andrews, rather than the 2 hour 10 mark, I believe. So that's another 5 minutes in this treachery.
Yeah, you know, on a track like today when it's as rough as it is and the ruts are all out there, and you know, I'm sure Adam's nerves are a little bit up, but he was in the same situation last week and almost got to the finish. So I think he's probably confident where he's at, and his nerves aren't bothering him. He's just looking forward and looking at that picture. He probably dreamed last night about winning it, and he's going to get her done.
That's it. That's it. You know, and Adam is one of the most colorful individuals out there on the circuit. There's no doubt about it. And if Adam McGill gains control of this championship series points race after this week, man, you can only imagine what kind of confidence he's going to roll into Steel Creek with in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and Adam's always a good person to talk to on the podium, too. He's really good with his words, and he's always got something interesting and funny to say. And even like his interview right there, he's standing there, he's got his hat crooked. You know, he's just, he beats to a little bit of different drum, and that's what we're all about. And he's not afraid to be that way around everybody, and that's why he's got such a good following. He's good to his people. He gives out T-shirts, and everybody yells and screams for him. And, you know, in reality, that's what he's here for. He's here for all the fans, keeping the fans happy, and that helps. When they're screaming and yelling, that makes him go faster. It
most certainly does. And speaking of faster, you better hurry up and get that AMSOIL Twitter podium prediction in, as you could win $250 in great AMSOIL products. Tweet your podium predictions to and hashtag those GNCC Live. And again, you could win that $250. Winners will be chosen randomly. You don't have to be present to win. You don't have to be right even. You just got to try and hashtag GNCC Live.
Yeah, I know today would have been a hard Twitter.
Oh, man.
Because, you know, we've got great riders up front, but it's usually, you know, we got that certain three that usually are there. And, you know, it's far from being over right now, but all these guys are really close. They're fighting tooth and nail, and it's going to be super exciting as soon as they get here closer. With these long laps like that, it keeps us all in suspense.
It does. It does, no doubt. Let's look at this. Let's break this down now, Fred. Adam Gill, Bryson Neal, we saw that they are somewhat close together now. No, they're still about 27 seconds apart, right?
Yep.
So Bryson Neal about 20 seconds still back. Jay Shadron not far off the pace of Bryson. However, Chris Bithell is not far off the pace either. He's only about 5 seconds back. And Johnny Gallagher, another 7 seconds back. 23 more seconds back to Walker Fowler. And I got to say right now that both Chris Bithell and Johnny Gallagher are quite big threats for the podium right now, especially for these younger, more inexperienced sophomores riding there in the second and third place positions.
Well, Rodney, right now you got third, fourth, and fifth that can see each other. So if you can see the guy ahead of you, they're in trouble. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're not all nose to tail, that three freight train going towards the front. You know, first and second, there's a gap, but third, fourth, and fifth, they could all be nose to tail pulling each other along.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all comes out here once we roll through the checkers in about 20 minutes. And see how it all unfurls there. We got 1 hour and 54 minutes nearly into this race. Out near the FMF, well, this is one of our downhill points, I believe, but it's an FMF section nonetheless. Checking back a little further into the woods and into some of the, well, he's coming out of a little nasty section. That looks like one of those low-lying areas that may have collected a little water down there. But look at something else. A lot of tree roots out there, and that may not be much of an issue in those flats, Fred, but once you start trying to climb hills and those things start getting exposed, it becomes a little bit different beast, I believe.
Yeah, Rodney, all them roots are going different directions, so even though you're on a four-wheel and you got four wheels, you really can't fall over, but you're always fighting the front end. Them roots are taking the front end right or left, whichever direction the root's going, so you're always fighting it. You're always got to be on your game. You always got to be holding tight, and that one little mud hole you could see where originally it started, it was pretty deep, and they've all moved to the side, and they're out of the deep mud. So the track really looks like it's coming to good shape, and I don't think anybody's really having too hard of a time out there today, so it should really be awesome day for tomorrow for the motorcycles.
I think you're absolutely right. You're right, and they have gotten out of that soft line there, and that's about as bad as it gets out in the woods. I mean, that's the low-lying areas. That's what the low-lying areas all look like. You got little sections like that would have collected some water during yesterday's rain showers and stuff. But again, look, there's a bottom there. That's the important thing. These guys are not finding themselves high-siding and having to get off and push or get out of the groove or anything like that. They're still able to ride that race line and keep that traction that they need.
Yeah, you don't see the skid plates dragging and making the wheels turn up late. The only little different thing is we're not seeing right now, there are some little bit of valleys up and down out there where the water could be a little bit better, but I'm with you on that, Rodney. I believe that's all hard bottom too, and these guys aren't even really dirty, so that's it's really amazing to me out there.
19 minutes, I believe, is what we're looking at. Actually, 18 and a half minutes before we'll see the leaders come in. We're still looking at close to an hour, about an hour and 56.5 minutes now. Actually, an hour and 56 as we look at the race clock there on the TV. I got a little different on my clock, but that's all right. We're within 15 seconds of each other. The thing that matters is that this race is going, and this is going to be a good one. You know, we talk about barn burners and stuff, and whether or not you would classify this particular race as a barn burner, I don't know. But what we can classify it as is a virtual race of what in the world's going to happen, man. I mean, we cannot predict. I mean, you know you never can. But at this point, we've got more unknown variables going on in this front pack than we have had in a long time, if not ever, at least recently in GNCC racing.
There you go, Rod. And there's one of them other sections like that. You know, even the track's not really getting eaten away there very much. And they got 2 nice lines through there, a little bit of water. But, man, I'm really impressed at how well the track's held up for how much rain we had. Because, you know, last year here when it rained, this track was underwater and it was horrible. And this year, it's going to be a great racing.
You know, that's the funny thing. Jeff Russell told me, I asked him, I said, you know, everybody's been saying that they think that the race is going to be canceled this week. He says, I said, what do you think about it? He says, what do I think? I don't think it's going to be as muddy as it was last year. He said the ATV guys might get to find out what mud's all about, but he said the bike guys are going to love it.
Yeah, and he's right. You know, and that's the thing about the racer. Jeff Russell and Barry Hawk, those guys know how to make a track. There's plenty of land here that they can take us out and get us a good track. You know, last weekend everybody thought, oh, we're going to Palatka. It's going to be a mud fest. It's going to be no fun. And that was probably one of the best tracks we've had in Florida.
I think so. It was a lot of fun, at least from a spectator standpoint, to watch it. Now, how much fun it was to ride, I don't know. I know most of the faces that I saw coming off that racetrack were pretty, they looked pretty beaten and worn, but at the same time, those are the kind of things that make good memories. Those are the good things that good memories are built on, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure they're happy that Florida's only one time a year. They don't want another round in Florida.
There's a reason why we only race there once a year, I guess.
Yeah.
All righty, 16 minutes now, and we are approaching that 2-hour mark. We're at an hour and 58 now, so we, you know, rarely do we get to go past the 2-hour mark on a ATV GNCC race. We normally finish in the 158, 157, 156 range, but they'll literally be going in a 213, maybe even as much as a 215 if they stay consistent on their lap times. That's going to be one of the longest ATV battles I've seen in a long, long time.
Well, you know, we're just giving them their money's worth, Rodney. Give them a little extra time out there on the
track.
There
you go. That's right, but guys, you didn't get your money's worth in Florida. Well, this is for those guys that didn't get to make it down to Florida. They get a little extra time out there on the track to get a little extra training because they haven't been able to all winter. And I'm sure that those guys are thinking, please throw that checkered flag.
Oh, yeah, Rodney. You know, anytime you're out there, even if you're winning, you're looking for the checkered flag. So everybody's going to be happy to see it for sure. But I think everybody out there is going to say that it was a great race. They had a lot of fun today, and everybody's ready to head north. You know, let's keep on going. We got another weekend off. Everybody's got a little extra time to get their bikes ready because this race today was definitely hard on them. You know, that mud and stuff's going to get in everything as your bike's going to need a good cleaning, maybe even chaining sprockets and some brake pads, and everybody's going to have 2 weeks to get things ready and regather, regroup, and we'll be ready.
Well, I'll tell you, we are regathering, regrouping, and ready right now because we're waiting for podium celebrations, but we still don't know who it's going to be, and I can start to see that folks are starting to make their way in. I think they'll go through the pro pits one more time before we see the big wave come over here toward the finish line to watch this finish itself. But here we are right now into that 2-hour mark of this race, and a lot of McGill Mafia fans starting to make their way up out of those deep wood sections now, and I think that this podium area, if McGill is able to pull the win off on this one and overtake the points race, it's going to be pretty doggone exciting, I believe, to see what kind of reaction the family is going to have here today.
You know, and that could make Adam extremely dangerous.
It could.
You know, he gets this win today. He gets the point lead. Boy, what kind of confidence is he going to have? I mean, he already came in here saying he was going to win. Well, now he wins, if he does, and gets a points lead. Look out, North Carolina.
Oh, my.
Mafia is on a roll.
You talk about, man, I tell you what, this is great. I mean, the ATV racing and GNCC has certainly given race fans something to talk about and something to look forward to. And I know a lot of folks were questioning and wondering as to whether or not, what was going to be going on with Chris Borch. I got to go with the fact that it's fluke things going on right now, folks. I wouldn't write Chris Borch off for anything at this particular point. He just had the fluke issues there. Well, not so much. He rode a smart race there last Saturday. Today is a fluke issue race day, I think.
Yeah, and right there goes Adam McGill on our screen right there, and I'm trying to get a watch on him to see how much time I think he has on second place.
That's not second there. And here comes second, I believe. Yes.
And it looks like somebody's hooked up, so we got maybe second and third are hooked up together.
Yes, we do.
Looks like about 20 seconds, Rodney.
20 seconds between Bryson Neal and Adam McGill. Is that Jay Shadron still right behind him? Or is that Shadron moved up into the number 2 spot? I couldn't quite tell if that was a Honda or a Yamaha. But I think that both Neal and Shadron are still right there. I think that Chris Bithel's not far off the pace. And there that's Bithel there, the number 7 machine. And Johnny G should be checking in with us here in just a moment with one of his strongest rides in quite some time.
So it looks like our one prediction was right, Ronnie. 2 guys have hooked up together. They're actually catching Adam McGill right now. They got, maybe half the track left to go. So we'll see if those 2 guys can keep their pressure on each other and get right on the back of Adam McGill. And we could have a really interesting finish, Rodney, like we talked earlier.
Yep.
This finish line's got all these nice little S-turns and nice little bump and run, and see how friendly you really are with these guys.
I'm telling you, he told us no friends on the racetrack. There is no more than a Mr. Nice Guy out there.
Except for Adam's problem is he's the guy in the front. He's going to be the guy that's going to be a little love tap.
Yeah. He's going to have to hope that maybe those guys didn't hear what he had to say before the race. They'll stay and play nice, right?
Yeah.
Well, right now, Fred, I see we're 2 hours and working on 2 hours and 3 minutes. A little over 11 minutes now before we expect to see the checker flag. This is the kind of situation that we saw Adam McGill in a week ago in Florida when things slipped away from him. We saw the guys closing up the gap, but will Bryson Neal be able to close up the gap and put that pressure on before the checkers fly like Walker did last week and steal that thunder once more? You know what? I normally don't make bold predictions, but I'm going to predict that there's not going to be anyone catch Adam McGill today. That's my prediction. I could be wrong, and for the sake of the race, I hope I am, because it would make it more interesting. But I think that McGill's on a mission, the McGill mission.
I think Adam is on a mission, but I'm a little, concerned. They've gained 20 seconds on him that last lap since they've hooked up. So if they got a little bit, maybe halfway to go around, it doesn't take much for one little lapper to get in front of Adam to even just to slow him down. Because once you get in that rhythm and you're on your game, boom, 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 you're going, and all of a sudden you catch a slow guy and you kind of slow up a little bit, and he lets you go by, and then you're like, oh, and you got to regroup and get going again. So, that little stumble right there could allow those guys to catch up, or Adam could be yelling his head off, revving his bike up, and that guy could be off on the woods upside down out of Adam's way. So you never know.
You don't, and that's the great thing about it, man, because if we do, there wouldn't be any sense in making our way out, would there?
No, it's going to be exciting for sure. And like you said, we're going to maybe have a new winner of today, new points leader. First time in a long time that, Walker Fowler or Chris Borch hasn't had the lead. That's almost a for sure thing because Walker's a little bit far back, so it's going to be exciting.
Yep. Walker at last check in 6th place when they came around last time, and he too seemed to be having his problems. Again, he wasn't up to par, and again, with Chris Borch being out, I'm sure he's gotten the board, and they told him, don't worry about it, because I'm sure they're thinking that that's the one that you're going to have to race for the championship. Jen Kenyon?
Guys, I had to head over to the pro pits to talk to the Adam McGill pit to find out if he was going to need at least a little bit of fuel to get to the finish line. And his dad, Mark, says, no, he's good. He should actually have some fuel left over. So I know a lot of people were wondering, is he going to make it to the finish line? And they're saying yes.
All righty, I guess we'll see whether or not that's the case. But, these guys do a lot of work in trying to figure that out, Fred, because that's the one thing, that's the one way you do not want to lose a race.
That's for sure, Ronnie. That is the main job of your mechanic. He knows you have to go out and run your bike and say, hey, my bike runs out of gas in X amount of time. So when you stop for that first pit, your mechanic's got that fuel tank marked. They use a quick fill. They give you fuel. As soon as you take off, the first thing he's doing, he's looking at that fuel can, and okay, you used 1.5 gallons or whatever, and you got this much left. You got plenty left. That's your main job when you're in the pits, unless they need some kind of mechanical thing fixed. But, it's all on you for the fuel.
That's important, man. You got, and I think we see that today. I think we see that pitting strategies can play a big role in this. It's worked out well for
And there he
Bryson
comes,
Hill.
right
Look
to the
at that.
pits, giving her fist bumps.
Yeah.
He's smoking a little bit,
Look
but
at
I'd
that.
have to say maybe that's just from coming through some open water.
Chris Bach at the end of the pro pit saying, slow down, man, slow down, calm down, don't throw this away, man. That's great of the Johnny Campbell Racing Honda Ride two-wheel guy, the motorcycle guy. That's a true fan right there when he's out there helping those leaders out there. And, you know, and he doesn't even hang out with Adam McGill. He hangs out more with Johnny and all those guys out there. So.
I thought he was telling him to slow down and wait for those guys.
I think he was saying, slow down, man, be careful, don't hit this too hard because there's something going on behind those pits right now. But look at him go, man. And, you know, watching Chris Bach there, he's watching very intently, man. And, you know, Johnny Campbell and the boys over there from that Honda team, they've really sparked a new life in his program, I think, too. And tomorrow we're going to see that continuation with that podium from last week, I think, out of that Chris Bach tomorrow. But we'll wait for tomorrow. We're waiting right now to see what's going on. About 7 more minutes of wait is what we got to see if whether or not Adam McGill is going to be able to hold on to this lead and take this win and take over the points lead. What's going on back behind him? Where is Walker Fowler? We know Chris Borich is out of this one, but where is Walker Fowler? What's going on with Bryson Hill and Jay Shadron? Are they closing that gap up on him right now? Will Chris Bithell get a big break out there somewhere with those two young guns racing with each other for that second place position? Man, so much to ponder on right now. We only got a little bit of time to make it happen in. 6 minutes, 48 seconds is what our clock is telling us. They anticipate and expect your leader, Adam McGill, to check in.
And right now, Rodney, everybody's coming over to the finish line. Everybody wants to see what's going to happen.
Oh, for sure, and it's a great place to be and a huge spectacle here today. This finish line here at the Maxxis General GNCC has been one of just amazement over the years. From Johnny Gallagher winning to Walker Fowler passing out, and there's a million and more things that has happened here. If we go back and look at the history books, this place could be ready to write a new page of history again, and one that could possibly surprise the racing world. Folks, be sure and check out more of GNCC Racing on NBC Sports. Our upcoming episodes include first episode on Sunday, May 3rd at 5 o'clock. Write it down on your calendar. It will be the Wild Boar GNCC. And then Sunday, May 17th, again at 5 o'clock, we'll have the General. And again, Sunday, May 17th, 5 o'clock, this race, the General GNCC on NBC Sports. Sunday, May 24th, will be Episode 3, the Steel Creek GNCC. And Saturday, May 30th at 2 o'clock, the Big Buck GNCC will be airing for you on NBC Sports. So it all begins in May for GNCC on NBC Sports. Just over 5 minutes now left to go here in a over now 2-hour race, approaching 2 hours and 10 minutes in the battle. Adam McGill leading Bryson Hill and Jay Shadron second and third. A 27-second lead now shaved down to somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 to 10 seconds. We've got Jay Shadron trying to stay ahead of the pace out there aboard the number 7 of Chris Bithell. Johnny Gallagher on point here today. Lap times. Let's check out lap times right here, right now. Jay Shadron, the fastest. Let's go with it. Adam McGill, 33:49. Bryson Hill, a 33:30. There's that 20 seconds you were talking about being made up. Jay Shadron, a 33:15. And Chris Bithell, a 33:23. He and Johnny Gallagher both turning identical lap times at 33:23 right there. So right now, Jay Shadron is the rider on the move. He's a young sophomore. Remember, we talked about him skipping the Pro-Am class. I asked him at the end of last year, do you think it was the right move? He just looked at me and said, yes, I most certainly do. And I think he's right.
Oh, I mean, for sure he's right.
There's not a lot of, Fred, I don't know that there's a lot that could make that step and make it work like he did. But somehow or another, he believed enough in that program to make it happen, and it all came to fruition for him.
Yeah, you know, he got his feet wet last year, got up there with those guys and mixed it up and saw how things went and said, you know, and he learned a little bit there and thought, if I'm going to continue with my career and make me better, I got to get in there now. That's the best thing you can do. Get with the fast guys and learn every race.
Well, I tell you, that boy is bred into GNCC, I think. If you look back at the history of his career, He used to race. His big sister used to race, Cheyenne. His mama used to race, and his dad used to race. I can remember calling races during the day, and at some point, every single one of those guys, one of those family members were on the track. And there's McGill now. See a little bit of steam coming out of that machine right now, Fred. We're getting close to home, though. We're only a mile or so out from the finish line. Is this going to cause any problems?
Man, I sure hope not. Now it's definitely not steam. Maybe it looks more like he might burn up some oil because it looks really light and, like oil burning maybe. But he's definitely not letting out anything. He's going to run her till she blows up or win.
So we could see this right here maybe be a huge turn of events here today, especially if Bryson Neal was to move into the first place position. That would put him quite possibly, if something was to happen to Adam and he not score any points and things continue the way that they have for Johnny Gallagher, and depending on what happens with Chris Bithell, Bryson Neal could walk away with the points lead here today if something happens to Adam McGill. There's a lot of ifs going on right now.
Yeah, and it looked like they just all came through right there, and Adam McGill didn't look like he lost any time, so whatever is burning off smoke, whether it is oil or whatever, it doesn't seem to be affecting him or his machine any, and it looks like he's going to, like I said, run her till she breaks or wins, and he looked like he was really pumped and excited there and wasn't really babying it at all, so he's not even worried about it.
2 minutes before we should be seeing the leaders check in for checker flag here at this Maxxis General GNCC, a race, Fred Andrews, that has most definitely given us a lot to be excited about as far as the 2015 AMSOIL GNCC series is concerned. Looking back on it all, it was Brian Wolf snagging the early lead with the whole shot, but it wasn't long before Adam McGill. Well, actually, they followed Brian for the biggest part of that first lap, if not the entire first lap. Then McGill was able to get out front. A lot of things going on behind him. Chris Borch was all the way back in 10th. He'd worked up to a third-place position after the second lap before having the issues and blowing his machine up. Walker Fowler staying steady back there in number 6 spot. And here comes Adam McGill now into the closing moments, and no steam, no smoke coming out of that thing now. He couldn't hit the finish line any sooner, folks, because this right here could be the one that does it for Adam McGill as he makes his way through these winding, twisting chicanes here at this Maxxis General GNCC. A bit of history about to be rewritten as Adam McGill will
take his practice bike
to the finish line and take over the points lead and win the Maxxis General GNCC. Adam McGill and the McGill Mafia does it here in Georgia. Wow. Back in the number 2 position now. As we look a little further back, we're going to wait and we're going to watch what's going on with B. Neal and the Maxxis B. Neal Motorsports team. The number 6, the number 9 of Jay Shadron. Here they come toward the finish line. It's Bryson Neal, and the young sophomore is going to open up this muddy race here, the second round of the season, with a second-place position, and that might move him up in the second place of the points also with Jay Shadron now in the number 3 position. Let's get an official account on that. No, that was Walker Fowler. Fowler had just gotten around him, I guess. So Walker Fowler. Now we're going to have to do it, and that may not be the points lead now, but it is.
1 and 2, yeah. 2 and a 1,
and a 1 and a 3. So
they may be tied.
No, actually, he is now about 3 points ahead, I believe, is the way it is. Because if they would have gone 1 and 2 and 2 and 1 like that, then it would have been. But Walker's going 1-3, so he's got one more position back, and I think there's 3 points that separate that one. So it will be at least a 3-point lead for Adam McGill heading into round 3. You see him talking to the camera right now. Congratulations, Adam McGill. You hear that crowd down there right now. I'd really like to know what Adam said. And you see that. Man, what a monumental day today, even for Jay Shadron. If he came across the line, regardless of coming across the line in 4th, he put in a ride today. He put in some of the fastest lap times today. Those last laps were the fastest of the day. The fastest, it looks like, was Walker Fowler at a 32:01, or excuse me, a 32:03. McGill turned a 32:40, which was a minute faster than the previous lap. Look at the smile on that young man right there. Look at his mechanic, Brock Booth there. It looks like that marriage is really working out very well for him. Again, a rider that had never ridden the Yamaha in race conditions. Bryson Neal went on the faith that Brock Booth knew what he was talking about, and they put that program together and went to the Yamaha machine, and it looks like it's paying huge dividends for them right now. Walker Fowler Obviously, he's been paying huge dividends, but what pays huge for him today is the fact that he was able to dig deep one more time in those closing moments to salvage what he could out of this race day.
Yeah, you know, all those guys really rode the wheels off those bikes today. And like you said, Walker Fowler was right there in the hunt, and we were kind of getting him confused in there. And he knows what it takes to be a champion, and he knows that every point counts, and that's what he did. He got the best that he could for today, and he's going to take this on to North Carolina and see what happens there.
There's the young Jay Shadron right there. You see him posing for photos right now. Big smile on his face. It looks a little winded, but you know, Fred, he doesn't look completely winded right now, but he's going to have time to catch his breath because we'll be back with more right after this in our victory celebrations.
This RacerTV.com live broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. By RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready. And Maxxis. Find your flow.
Any engine, any season. At home, at the track, or on the trail. AMSOIL for any engine.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser.
Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best?
The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
General GNCC as Adam McGill takes the win here today and over the points lead by 4 points now over Walker Fowler here at this Maxxis General GNCC. Congratulations to our AMSOIL Twitter contest winner. It is America at I Am Erica. America. That's a pretty creative, I think.
Yeah.
She chose, get this, McGill, Neal, and Fowler, and she got it right, and she won $250 in great AMSOIL product in the process. And right now they are getting things geared up over there on the start line, or on the finish line. Maxxis victory lane right there, and of course Adam McGill took the win. Bryson Neal took second. Third place went to Walker Fowler, but third place almost went to Jay Shadron. I think Jen Kenyon has him trackside right now.
Yeah, that's right, Rodney. We're down here with Jay Shadron, a fourth place finish, which is very impressive. You were so close to getting on the podium. Take us through that last lap with you and Walker.
We probably passed each other 4 or 5 times. We're just giving it all we got, clear the finish, and I just really wanted to get up there. Just came up short, but we'll get them next time.
You know, you're a Pennsylvania rider. You're probably used to some of this mud and everything. Is this a good way to kind of springboard yourself up towards the podium fights here in 2015?
Oh yeah, I've always liked the mud, and it's definitely a confidence booster to be able to get up here and run with these guys.
All right, well, congratulations on an awesome ride, and we'll be looking for Jay Shadron more up here on the podium this season.
Before, they always thought, oh, shit, Chris.
All right, thanks a lot. As we are back with Fred Andrews here in the Race Day Studios, and Adam McGill. Yeah, they, as we were talking, I believe something is for real this year, man.
Yep.
I mean, these guys coming in, Fred, that's one thing that I wanted to talk about while we wait for the podium. This is a whole, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, it's a new era in GNCC. I can see it forming right now. We see the young blood up there, and just like you said right there, there's too many guys that are for real right now.
Yeah, they're all for real. I mean, whether it's a psychological thing that Chris got off the Suzuki that he won so many races on and got on the Yamaha, and everybody says, well, this is our chance. They're all hungry. They all been working at it. And right now it seems like Chris might be struggling a little bit, and they're all doing good. So this is just fueling their fire. This is giving their confidence even more and more of a boost.
Well, let's take a look at our Rocky Mountain leaderboard for our top 10 as we wrap things up here at the Maxxis General GNCC. It is Adam McGill, Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, Jay Shadron, and Chris Bithell. Another good, consistent ride for him in 5th. A great ride for Johnny Gallagher. I thought he might have a chance to actually take over a podium position ride today, but he finished back there in the number 6 spot. Jared McClure, the Sneaky Snake, was 7th. Kevin Yoho, another good ride for that Ohio rider up there as he finishes 8th. Landon Wolf, another young gun, in 9th. And Brian Wolf holds on for 10th. That's a good ride for that rider as well. So I think that we got ourselves a great leaderboard there with our top 10, and brought to you by Rocky Mountain, ATVMC.com. Get ready. And I'm telling you, Fred, the names that we read through that top 10 leaderboard, the way it was stretched out, the absence of Chris Borch's name, and quite possibly even the absence of some other names that we may have expected to see in there. But regardless, it's just amazing what kind of excitement level this is going to bring to round number 3 at the Steel Creek GNCC when we head to Morganton, North Carolina. Jen Kenyon standing by down at Maxxis Victory Lane, where she stands by with our Whole Shot Award winner.
That's right, courtesy of AMSOIL, $250 extra go to this guy right here, and that's Braden Henthorne. Now, you might notice he's already geared up in his side-by-side outfit because he's going to be co-passenger here in just a second, so we'll get you going. You got the whole shot. Were you feeling good?
Yeah, I was feeling good for a little while. I kind of had some bad luck once we got in the woods, but out in front of everybody, I looked great.
Hey, that's all that matters, and you get $250 extra to go home with, so that's not so bad either, right?
Yeah, that'll make things a little better to compensate for the problems in the race.
All right, well, we'll look for you out there. What team are you going to be in on the side-by-sides?
I'm going to be riding with Larry Michael Hendershot with the JB Can-Am ride.
All right, we'll be looking for you. Congratulations on an awesome whole shot, and we will see you up here hopefully in the next coming rounds. Guys, we'll send it back to you, and we're going to stage our XC1 Pro whole shot. Oh, we need you back here, Braden. We need one more photo.
All right, thanks a lot, Jen Kenyon, while they get their photo ops and stuff there. I want to pat that young man on the back right there. Braden Henthorne, last week after last Saturday's brutal race in Florida, headed over to the Daytona International Speedway, where the first ever and historic fly racing ATV Supercross at Daytona International Speedway took place on Tuesday. Well, Braden decided, you know, hey, I'm going to go give it a try. He's never raced a motocross race in his life, and he goes out, races the Pro-Am class in the ATV national ranks over there, so to speak, and ends up coming away with 5th place in the first ever Supercross. So kudos to Braden Henthorne, man. He's a multi-talented ATV racer.
Sure is, running 3 races in 1 week, too.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's saying a lot about these guys.
Good thing he's young.
No, and you know what? I mean, I know he didn't finish this race, but a big smile on his face and everything. You know, that guy is certainly living large right now and loving life. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for your second place finisher today. B. Neal himself, Bryson Neal, the Bidwell Bullet. Well, you can hear the crowd getting crazy over there. And there he is, the Mafia leader himself, ladies and gentlemen. Your winner of round 2, Adam McGill. And how about it for our third place finisher coming up on the podium today? He worked his way back from the pack, fought hard, tooth and nail, all the way to the third place position. Let's hear it for Walker Fowler. Fowler taking the number 3 spot. He's not back on the podium. Did he spin himself again today, you think, maybe?
I don't know. I saw his mechanic riding his bike back to the truck where they just went back there to give it a quick wishy-wash to make sure she's good and clean and let everybody know he was on the Yamaha on the podium. I'm not sure, but
I don't know.
There he is.
Comes. He went back, put a nice new clean jersey on, cleaned his bike up a little bit, yeah.
Brushed his teeth, all that good stuff.
Put some gel in his hair.
All right, let's send it down to Max's victory lane with Jen Kenyon.
That's right, guys. Let's hear it one more time for our top 3 overall finishers. We've got Adam McGill, Bryson Neal, and Walker Fowler. And if we could get you guys to take a quick photo op. I know Adam's got to get down to the side-by-side race as well, so we'll make this one quick. Walker, if you want to go ahead and grab your trophy. And let's get our top 3 finishers here together. Adam's got that cool-looking gun. That's the signature of the Maxxis General. All right. And folks, help me welcome the first finisher here to the podium. That's Walker Fowler, 3rd place for the day. These guys are messing around. All right, Walker, talk about coming into this race. You were sick. You were coming off a win. You had a little bit of struggle at the beginning, but take us through. That was an impressive charge you put out there.
We just not a good day, I mean, we're up on the podium, and, to win this championship, you're going to have to be up here every week. But, that was a really, really bad race. Worked way too hard to get a 3rd place. Just couldn't get anything to go our way, especially early on. And, that we just had a long day digging out of a big hole. Didn't ride all week, pretty much just laid in bed all week and just was miserable. But, we're starting to finally get healthy. And, 2 weeks, we'll be ready to go. And, I don't like getting beat, I guess, and but like I said, we're up here. We made up valuable points. It's awesome to have Bryson up here. His best finish of his career. So Adam getting a win. Everyone loves Adam. So it's a good day up here. A bunch of friends and having fun.
All right. Was there anything specific at the beginning of the race that held you back, or was it just a series of different things?
I think I was like 12th on the start. Just Adam wheelied into the right of me, and Jay wheelied into the left of me, and I just got blocked off. It's just one of them things that happens. They got traction, I didn't, and so I just struggled all day and just was riding really conservative early on, and it actually started to kind of work. I think I'd worked my way up into 4th at one point, and just a stupid mistake. I just got cross-rutted and went from 4th to 10th, and a blink of an eye, and it was like, well, heck, this is going to be a long day. But we just kept our head up, and here we are.
Like you said, these are the days that champions are made for sure. Who would you like to thank for getting up here, Walker?
I definitely want to give the glory to God, first and foremost, and Chuckle Master, thank you for coming over and praying with us. I want to thank, my mom and my dad, first and foremost, of course. They've been putting a lot of effort into my program for a lot of years, so thanks, Mom and Dad. The whole NFAB and Pro Yamaha crew, especially everybody who was out in the woods. I really appreciate it. Moto Experts, Lone Star, Maxxis Tires, Hill International Trucks, MSR, Fox Suspension, DP Brakes, Tire Balls, Hyper Wheels, Vortex, Outerwears, Precision Yam Lube, Moto Seat, Anti-Gravity Batteries, Lee at Wiseco, Fuel Customs, Waynesburg Yamaha, IMS, CV4 Works Connections, UITR, DID Chains, Dragon Racing Fuels, D4 Power Sports, Pro Taper, all the guys at Graphic Works making the quad look good. Can't thank those guys enough. Bell, Scott Goggles, never had to pitch my goggles off until the second to last corner. The film broke, but, awesome goggles. I think we all wear them. And definitely want to give a shout-out to my man, Paul Turner. I'm sure he's listening on live, so thanks, PT. Appreciate all the hard work you do behind the scenes. Definitely want to thank the Florida crew that showed up, Janet and Elisa, thank you. And definitely my mechanic, Mark Notman, puts in a lot of hard work, and the whole Notman family. And, just here we are.
All right, guys, that's Walker Fowler, 3rd place here at the Maxxis General. And right here, like he said, a career best finish for you, Bryson Neal, your 2nd year in the XC1 Pro class. You rode like a champ out there today.
Thank you very much. Today's motto was just keep moving forward, and that's what we did. We got 3rd off the whole shot, and it was a battle all day long. It was a struggle. It got crazy out there, but so pumped to come away with my first 2nd overall of my career, and just try to stay here in the top 5 every race and be there at the end.
All right, well, so far so good. You've got that in the first 2 rounds. Now talk about that pit strategy you guys had going on. Did you know that you were going to have to pit right away and have that kind of strategy? Is that something you guys talked about, or is that like Brock's making the calls and you just pull in when you need to?
We had a game plan. We thought the laps with the mud was going to be only about 30 minutes, but we pit it on the first lap, and actually it helped out a lot. The next lap we came around, I got stuck, and everyone was pitting. So I kind of just, no goggles, no paper towels, and just got to go ahead and kept going and going. And I mean, pushed as hard as I could because I saw the pit board, so I was going to have to pit for gas. So I pushed as hard as I could and came, and I was able to pit, not lose a position, and get back out there and keep going.
All right, well, like I said, it was an impressive ride. I know you had a lot of fans cheering for you out there. Who would you like to thank?
First of all, I thank my mom and my dad. Brock Booth, I mean, that guy, he works so hard. And seeing him work so hard makes me want to work, double as hard because, I can't thank him enough. He's the man, flat out. But I'd like to thank Max's Tires. Hauser Racing, Exit Shocks, Hyper, Moose, Precision, DP Brakes, WRP, Works Racing Parts, Top Performance, Recluse, Works Connection, Sycra, I'd like to thank Hyper Wheels, Vanilla Gorilla, Atlas, Lone Star, Vortex, Carb Sport, CB4 Power Sports, Renegade Fuels, and Anti-Gravity Batteries, Fuel Customs, and Spider Graphics, and everybody else. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, that is Bryson Neal, today's second place finisher. And Adam McGill, why don't you grab that gun again? I don't want to say that too many times, but hold that thing up high and mighty. Today's overall winner of the Maxxis General GNCC. Let's hear it, folks. All right, Adam, if I could get you to take a couple steps back so our cameraman can film us here. Talk about this race. You know, you came off of a second place finish. You led a lot of that race last round. I know you had a lot of fire under you. What a way to bounce back and put it right here in the center.
Oh, man. I mean, it was a tough day right from the start. We rode a bike that I put quite some time on. I trusted it a lot. And went out here, had a decent start. I looked forward, actually, and I was like, holy crap, I lost a whole shot. So it's all good. I'm glad Braden got himself a whole shot this year. But I'll be back. I want another one of those. But, man, I can't tell you how good this feels. After what happened last weekend, to come back and do this weekend, this thing's going to look good with a white plate on it. I don't know if we'll do it, but, man, it's nice to know that we're leading this thing, you know. And I haven't led it since, I think, 2008 or something like that. So, man, I think it could be a good year. I'm hoping and I'm praying. And these green shirts out here, Cuz America, you guys kicked ass. Thank you so much for helping me get through this. All you fans, I mean, this is what it's about. Just all you guys pulling together to help me make this happen. So thank you guys so much.
And you did it on your practice bike.
Yeah, we did. She's ugly. She's not real pretty, but damn, she got the job done today. So I'm very happy. You know, the bike is built just like all my other ones. It's just not as pretty, not as glamorous. So, you know, I'd like to thank all my sponsors. You know, my dad, for one, putting in all this time. My fiance, Haley, you know, now I'm able to buy that kitchen table for her when we get home. So, you know, we have DeRisi Racing, you know, jumped on board with me, helped me out with suspension. CST Tires is here. Them things never stop pulling all day long. Hyper Wheels kept them on the bead. We have tire blocks, no flats all day long. You know, we had Leat, JT, Scott. We had RJR bumpers and skids, you know, Vanilla Gorilla belly skids. We also had a new company come on board, Harlow. He made the radiator guards for me. Bike never overheated once. Baldwin engine, like I said, pulled awesome. Dirtworks 24-volt Alliant batteries. Wiseco piston and clutches, Works connection. Sycra, keep my hands clean. You know, ODI grips, throttle out, Boysen. We have FMF, you know, my oil sponsor, which is Maxima. Custom Access shocks, no problems all day long. Like I said, it's a practice bike, and that thing worked good today. So, you know, all balls and twin air and streamline and DP brakes and rotors, and that's all I got. I'm done, and I got to get in the side-by-side. So, like I said, thank all you fans again. You guys kicked ass, and I want to see some more green shirts here in 2 weeks at the next round in North Carolina. We'll see if we can bring a W home again. So thank you very much, guys.
All right, there he is. It's Adam McGill. And before you go, Adam, let's get down to our champagne celebration. Folks, get up here, front and center. Let's get some of this champagne showers.
That's right, Jen Kenyon, as we see the Final podium shots going on right there. Look at that, man. That right there is what it's all about.
Yeah, Rodney, you know, they all rode really good today. They're all happy for each other. And the thing I noticed about Walker Fowler says, you know, he's up here with good friends. So
yeah.
They race hard like that on the track. They're bumping or whatever it is, but they're good friends. And, you know, they trust each other on the track. And, you know, it's good that they all have fun like that. And
well, here we go, folks. As we always like to say in the GNCC Racing Nation, to the victor goes the spoils, and the spoils in GNCC. Yes, you know what it is. It is the...
Looks like it's been a while for Adam. Needs a little help. And needs a little coaching from Walker.
Those big bottles of champagne. Once again, as we say, to the victor goes the spoils, and the spoils in GNCC, the sweet, sweet spray of champagne. The celebrations continue on Max's Victory Lane. What a great day of racing, to say the least, Fred Andrews. We have had a monumental day, and as always, a epic and historic day of racing here at Max's General. GNCC always offers up some sort of surprises.
Yeah, Rodney, you know, like today, it was, you never really knew who was going to win. Right. It was a perfect battle the whole way. You know, I thought Adam made a bad call by riding his practice bike, because it seems like your race bike, you always put, you know, better care of it. But, you know, he said, like he said, he took the ugly girl right to the podium. So maybe we need to bring the other girl out for the next race and put her back on top. I don't know. But, man, my hat's off to all these guys today. It was a rough, brutal track. They all went, you know, fought tooth and nail, and it was a great racing for everybody, and hopefully everybody on TV really liked it.
No doubt about that. Again, congratulations to Adam McGill taking a win. Bryson Neal, the Midwell Bullet, in second. Walker Fowler in third. Jay Shadron in fourth. Chris Bithell in fifth. Johnny Gallagher sixth. Jared McClure seventh. Kevin Yoho eighth. Landon Wolf in ninth. And Ryan Wolf rounding out the top 10. And there's a few of the great memories what the Maxis General GNCC had to offer today. Fred, it's been a great day today. I want to say thanks to everyone for tuning in. Don't forget, we'll be back with more GNCC Live in just a few minutes as we'll switch gears to the UTV, the side-by-side things. And on behalf of Fred Andrews, Jen Kenyon, I'm Rodney Tomlin saying good day, everybody.